Chapter 481, Bloodline Evolution. Su Ping felt the astral powers inside him had become even more compact after the test. He was still at the 7th rank, but the richness of his astral powers could compare to the peak of the 8th rank. His astral powers could even soar to the upper position of the 9th rank with the help of the star prism. Next, Su Ping took his pets to take a bath in the spring, which was their favorite. In the spring, the Inferno dragon hid the lower half of its body in the water and leaned against the edge. The Inferno dragon enjoyed the bath with its eyes squinted when all of a sudden it blurted out some words that could be barely made out. Though good. Su Ping became speechless due to his astonishment. The dark dragon hound, which was trying all manners of dog paddling, the little skeleton, which had its bones scattered at the bottom of the spring, and the purple python, all turned to see the Inferno dragon in a daze. Am I hearing things? Su Ping wondered. Did the Inferno dragon just speak the human language? Was that you? Can you say something else? Su Ping asked in a hurry. The Inferno dragon didn't understand why everyone was looking at it. What? The Inferno dragon blinked in confusion. Su Ping opened his eyes wide in surprise. Even though the Inferno dragon couldn't articulate properly, it was speaking the human language. In normal conditions, only beast kings were able to master human speech. If flying was an indicator of the titled rank, speaking the human language was a symbol of beast kings. Also, not every beast king was able to do this. For example, the swamp war crocodile that he recently got was a beast king, but didn't understand the human language. He would need to spend some time teaching the crocodile. Beast kings had intelligence. The human language was not the only one that beast kings could speak. They could also speak languages of other races. Having such abilities, beast kings were regarded as the evolution of wild animals into creatures with intelligence. It had never occurred to Su Ping that the Inferno dragon would be able to start talking when it was merely at the 7th rank. All of a sudden, he remembered the material he had bought from the system's shop, the one that could improve the pet's understanding power. The little skeleton and the dark dragon hound were unable to speak. The Inferno dragon was the only one. The reason, evidently, was because of that material. Those were energy points well spent. Speaking the human language would not improve the Inferno dragon's combat strength. Still, this ability meant that the Inferno dragon's power of understanding was so high that the pet could very likely perceive and come up with some skills all by itself. Come on, say something else, Su Ping said again. The Inferno dragon was speaking like a 3-year-old kid. It would speak with a lisp. Su Ping had to guide the Inferno dragon to practice more so that it would master this new skill sooner. What? The Inferno dragon blinked in confusion. Su Ping came up with an idea. Count off. What of? Well, let's try something simple. 3,000 thieves have 6,000 thumbs. Tree. The Inferno dragon was stuck after merely one word. It blinked its googly eyes. Su Ping was immediately overrun by a burst of heartless laughter. The dark dragon hound laughed itself into convulsions, stirring up a lot of water in the spring. At the bottom of the spring, the little skeleton was shivering as it laughed. Hiss, hiss. The purple python opened its mouth, and its tongue twisted. That laughter was scary enough to make people cry. Su Ping was glad that the Inferno dragon was able to speak the human language. He believed that the material he had bought was not the only contributing factor. When he was at the store, he would usually tell the Inferno dragon, the little skeleton, and the dark dragon hound to stay in the nursing pens which was able to nurture them. Even Joanna liked to spend her free time in the nursing pen. The aura in the nursing pen was able to slowly improve their power of understanding. The effect was not as obvious as that material, but could be built up day after day. After they had finished their baths, Su Ping told the pets to go and train with some celestial gods when he went to a place to consume the herbs that the Zhang family had given him. He told himself that he had to progress as soon as possible. He had been cultivating faster than the average warrior, but that was still not fast enough for him. For example, he couldn't make the swamp war crocodile his pet yet. He didn't plan on signing a contract with the swamp war crocodile to begin with. That being said, what if the incubation pool could come up with a beast king at the prime of its state, and one with an extremely rare bloodline at that? He would be so frustrated if he could only sit around and look at it. Time flew. They had spent days in the demigod burial. Su Ping was reaching an end in his cultivation as well. The herbs and the cultivation method together had promoted him from the lower position to the upper position of the 7th rank within a matter of days. The foundation was not solid. However, he could go back next time for another round of heaven's testing. After the foundation was solidified, he believed he would stay at the intermediate position of the 7th rank. At a certain point during his cultivation, Joanna came to him with a weird look on her face. "Your little skeleton seems to be evolving. Do you want to go and have a look?" Evolving. Su Ping stopped cultivating. He remembered the Skeleton King's bloodline. Had the little skeleton finished absorbing the blood crystal? Surprised, Su Ping hurried over with Joanna. They went to a sports field. Several true gods and celestial gods were there as well, while a god warrior was in charge. There was an oval in the middle of the field, a blood-red cocoon. The cocoon was more than 2 meters tall. Su Ping could pick up a strong and pungent smell of blood even while standing outside the field, as if he were standing in a hell filled with blood. The contract told him that it was the little skeleton that was inside the blood cocoon. Joanna called over a celestial god. The celestial god ran to where Su Ping was and, as required by Joanna, told Su Ping what happened. The little skeleton was practicing saber play with the celestial god when a strong burst of energy surged up over the little skeleton all of a sudden. Gradually, a cocoon appeared and wrapped the little skeleton. "Is your little skeleton a descendant of the Skeleton King?" Joanna gazed at the blood-red cocoon as she asked Su Ping. The fact that the skeleton was different from others was not new to her, but she had never linked the little skeleton with the Skeleton King. It was said that the Skeleton King's race had been sealed in the chaotic realm of the undead and later became extinct. It was a surprise that the Skeleton King had a live descendant, and it was in Su Ping's hand. Su Ping nodded. He didn't reveal the truth. The little skeleton was not a descendant. It just got the Skeleton King's bloodline from that blood crystal. He grabbed the blood crystal from the food of that white skeleton that had discarded the blood crystal. He could imagine how powerful the white skeleton he saw had been. The Skeleton King's race had creatures that were at the star rank. It was said that their king had become a god. Joanna squinted her eyes. Creatures at the star rank were comparable to god warriors. As for the king, it should be as strong as Joanna's true self. Being a descendant of the Skeleton King, the little skeleton had the potential to become a god one day. Chapter 482. Pick up an award. It was taking a long time, but finally, the little skeleton has finished consuming the blood crystal. As he stared at the cocoon, Su Ping could not wait to see the change. The little skeleton had been absorbing the blood crystal for a long time, and the progress had been slow. Finally, this day, the transformation would be complete. Su Ping anticipated that the little skeleton's combat strength would see another marked rise. It was even likely that the little skeleton's combat strength could be comparable to the void state of the legendary rank. The little skeleton's bloodline is awakening, and the bloodline is of a high rank. I suppose the process will go on for a while. I suggest you store the cocoon in your contract space in case anyone could disturb the little skeleton, Joanne reminded Su Ping. Su Ping nodded. That was the first time he had encountered anything like this. There was no harm in taking Joanna's suggestion. The swirl appeared and sucked the little skeleton in. The blood-red cocoon was floating in that space quietly. Afterward, Joanna told the curious onlookers to get back to their businesses. Su Ping went back to his cultivation. After he was done, he checked on the dark dragon hound, the inferno dragon, and the customers' pets. With Joanna's help, the customers' pets' training had been going perfectly well. After all, those pets had never been through training where they would have to face death directly. The pressure from the repeated deaths had tapped the pets' full potential. All the pets had been progressing by leaps and bounds and had been thoroughly remolded. Soon, it was time to leave the demigod burial. Su Ping saw that the blood-red cocoon remained the same inside the contract space. A week had passed, and the awakening had not reached its end yet. Rather, the color of the cocoon had become increasingly bright. Su Ping was not in a hurry. Joanna told him that the longer the process was, the better the result would be. Su Ping was even more eager to see what would become of the little skeleton. Joanna left some orders for her subordinates before he went back to the store with Su Ping. The light inside the store was dim. Daybreak had just arrived. It was still early. Su Ping saw that it was barely 6 in the morning. He placed the dark dragon hound and the inferno dragon in the nursing pens and later went to clean up and shave. He checked all the customers' pets to make sure he hadn't missed one. Then he left the store and headed home. He saw a long line outside as soon as he opened the door. The day had just broken, and at least 100 people or so had arrived. The customers in the line were stunned. It was rare for Su Ping to open the door this early. While the customers were still processing that pleasant surprise, Su Ping turned around and closed the door. "I'm gonna go for some breakfast and then grab the greeter. The store will be open for business at 7:30, Su Ping said to the customers. The customers were rendered speechless. They watched as Su Ping turned around and left. Su Ping was not used to speaking to the customers without Tang Ruyan being present. He had to ask the customers to wait. He supposed they had become used to this waiting since he usually opened the door later, well into 9 in the morning. While he was going back home, Su Ping noticed that there was someone quite powerful moving about in the buildings across the street. He was familiar with those people. Su Ping realized that they were the family heads, as well as some of the other titled battle pet warriors. Have all of them moved in here? It would have never occurred to him that he would have those guys as neighbors one day. He remembered the conversation between those family heads with Zai Jinshui the day prior. He didn't know what to say. They had acted too quickly. They had reached a solution in less than a day. It seemed that each family currently owned a building close to his store. He wondered if they used coercion in the transaction. Su Ping thought he would have to ask Zai Jinshui about it. Those who previously lived across the street were his old neighbors. They would greet each other when they met on the street. Su Ping would have to get involved if coercion had been used, because everything had started because of him. Mr. Su. A man walked out from the building that had once been a noodle shop. It was Qin Duhuang. "Good morning," he said. Qin Duhuang held a birdcage in his hand. He was going for a walk in a quiet place with a bird. "Morning," Su Ping replied. "Mr. Su, your store is so popular. So many people are waiting even before it opens." Mu Bahai walked out from a building that had once been a tailor store. He was being accompanied by a Mu family elder. They had felt Su Ping's presence and immediately walked out to pretend having met Su Ping by chance. It is all thanks to you," Su Ping replied politely. The family heads of the Liu and the Yi families came out as well and greeted Su Ping with a smile. No one wanted to be left out. Su Ping exchanged some small talk with them and later hurried away. He saw Tang Ruyan and Zhang Lingtang eating breakfast as soon as he got home. "Why did you get up so early?" Tang Ruyan was surprised by Su Ping. There was still some kanji by the corner of her mouth when she raised her head. "Sir," Zhang Lingtang stood up in a hurry and greeted Su Ping formally. Li Qingru had become aware of the relationship between Zhang Lingtang and Su Ping. She told the girl to sit down and make herself at home. Su Ping agreed. "You don't have to be so uptight around me. A kowtow is enough," he said. Zhang Lingtang didn't know what to say. Li Qingru rolled her eyes at him. "What has gotten into you so early in the morning? Tong, don't listen to his nonsense. Su Ping, go and brush your teeth and sit down for breakfast. Tang and Tong bought breakfast for us. You must remember to treat them well in the store. Don't be all affected and don't bully them." Su Ping blinked. "When was I like that?" "I brushed my teeth in the store." He sat down and dug in. "I wonder how your sister is doing in the Valiant Academy," Li Qingru muttered all of a sudden. She had been missing Su Lingyu at the breakfast table. Su Ping also noticed that he had much more food to eat without his young sister. No one would fight for food with him. It was so uncomfortable. Su Ping shook his head. Mom, don't worry, I know a guy there. No one is going to bully her while she's there. Maybe when she gets back you'll see an obese girl. Li Qingru rolled her eyes at him again. Don't speak like that. Su Ping chuckled. He thought of Dad. Anyway, Mom, didn't you say you were going to call Dad and tell him to come back? Why hasn't he? Li Qingru was also worried. Your dad wrote me a letter saying that he has come ashore and was on his way back home. I think it's just because the journey is a long one. Su Ping frowned. He thought of the underground trains that were under frequent attacks outside the base city. He wished that the father he had never seen would enjoy a safe ride home. Su Ping finished his breakfast quickly and called Zai Jinshui. He asked about the stores sold to Qin Du Huang and the other family heads. He was told that the original owners were given money that was hundreds of times more than what they originally had invested. Sir, are the wild beasts still active outside the base city recently? Su Ping changed the subject. Zai Jinshui was surprised that Su Ping would ask about that. He sounded worried. Yes, quite active. I have sent out some titled battle pet warriors to clean up the beasts. We have gotten rid of many. Su Ping was happy to hear that. Is the underground train from the Jinghai base city to the Longjiang base city still working? His dad had been working at sea, and the Jianghai base city was by the ocean. His dad would have to take that train if he was coming home. Jinghai base city, Zai Jinshui was baffled. Yes, it has been operating well. It was the other lines that were under attack and their operation was suspended for a couple of days. What is it? Do you know someone living in the Jianghai base city? Su Ping was relieved. Good, sorry to bother you. Don't mention it. Zai Jinshui decided that he had to ask someone to check that line. He hung up and was ready to go back to the store when the phone buzzed. The call was from Qin Shuai. Mr. Su, I can finally reach you. Qin Shuai sounded quite glad that the call went through. Su Ping didn't know why Qin Shuai would call him. What is the matter? Mr. Su, indeed, great wits have short memories. I recently talked to you about the Supremacy League. If you want to participate, you can come over now. The preliminary competition has begun. You can start in the formal competition directly since you're a titled battle pet warrior. I called but failed to reach you. Our family head told me you were away, and I could only call people inside the Longjiang base city, Qin Shuai explained quickly. The Supremacy League. Su Ping remembered that Qin Shuai said the champion could get a talent stone. The talent stone was something like the enlightening guide, but Su Ping wondered if the talent stone could be as effective. I was at the Holy Light base city, Su Ping said. Where is the Supremacy League held? Holy Light base city. That explained it. But Qin Shuai wondered why Su Ping had gone there. The Holy Light base city was for trainers. Had Su Ping gone there to train his pets to be ready for the Supremacy League? Qin Shuai knew it was not his place to pry into Su Ping's privacy. He answered Su Ping's question. It's at the Aurora base city, a Tier 1 base city. Okay, I'll go. Thanks, Su Ping said. The call ended. Su Ping was interested in the talent stone. After all, he couldn't get an enlightening guide from the system store every time. He would have to spend energy points and be lucky. Let's go now that your tummy is full, Su Ping said to Tang Ruyan and Zhang Lingtong. The two both heard Su Ping's conversation. Are you going to the Supremacy League? Yes, to collect an award, Su Ping said. Tang Ruyan was at a loss for words. Su Ping made it sound like he would win the championship for sure. Chapter 483, Riding the Beast King. Even though Tang Ruyan was surprised by Su Ping's answer, she believed that he could very likely win first place, given how he had easily overwhelmed the Tang family elders who were at the peak of the titled rank. Tang Ruyan was itchy for a try. Can you take me with you? The store will be closed with you gone anyway. I'll have nothing to do here. Su Ping darted her a glance of contempt. Who said I would close the store? Joanna will be too busy by herself. You two will help her. Tang Ruyan pouted. She couldn't even find an excuse to retort. She quickly lost interest anyway. She remembered that it was likely that she would meet some elders from the Tang family at the Supremacy League. She was not in a mood to see any member of her family at the moment. Zhang Lingtong remained silent. She was dying to ask when Su Ping would start teaching her training skills but feared to ask, shy and timid as she was. Su Ping saw that Qin Du Huang and his old friend were playing chess outside the door of his store. He looked at the door of the other building. He saw Mu Beihai sitting in a brand new desk that was absolutely unfit for that old building. Mu Beihai was going through some files while dealing with family matters. These guys really were going all out. Su Ping shook his head. At the thought of the Supremacy League, he decided to call Qin Du Huang. Qin Du Huang was surprised to hear Su Ping shout his name. He was gloating inwardly. Yes, Mr. Su. Mu Beihai took his eyes off the files. He gazed at Su Ping nervously. Zhou Tianlin and Liu Tianzong had both stopped what they were doing. They were feeling a lot of pressure. Was Su Ping going to sell pets again? Everyone was getting ready for a sprint. I heard that the Supremacy League has started. Aren't you going to participate? Su Ping asked. The Supremacy League had begun, but it didn't seem that Qin Du Huang and the other guys were going. Everyone breathed in relief, and at the same time, they were disappointed though. Liu Tianzong stood up and explained, Mr. Su, you don't know this, but the Supremacy League is for young talents like you. Old guys like us are half buried in the ground. We're not suitable candidates anymore. Even though Su Ping had asked for half of the Liu family's assets and almost left them broke, Liu Tianzong no longer hated Su Ping. For one thing, Su Ping had the legendary battle pet warrior backing him. For another, Su Ping himself was intimidating enough. It was possible that he could grow to become a legendary battle pet warrior himself. All Liu Tianzong wanted to do now was to better his relationship with Su Ping. If Su Ping were to add the Liu family to the blacklist and deliberately avoid the Liu family when he sold pets in the future, then the Liu family would be really doomed. Sooner or later, the Liu family would be crushed by other families, eventually being forced to leave the Longjiang base city. Qin Du Huang glared at Liu Tianzong for answering the question first. You're too chatty. Mr. Su, are you participating? Qin Du Huang asked with a smile. Given your strength, I think winning the championship will be a piece of cake for you. I heard that the winning prize is quite miraculous. It is something that can enable a pet to pick up a talent. A pet with a talent skill is hard to come by. Mr. Su, this is a chance you cannot miss. I will go soon. Su Ping asked, which place could you win if you were to take part? Liu Tianzong grabbed the chance again. Mr. Su, don't worry. You'll be no one, and that is for sure. As for us, entering the top 10 will be good enough for us. After all, some shameless old guys from other base cities will join in the competition. All of the top 10 winners will be at the peak of the titled rank. Qin Du Huang was furious. Can't you see that Mr. Su is talking to me? Why are you butting in? Peak of the titled rank, Su Ping nodded. Without further ado, Su Ping went to the store and opened the door. The customers also heard the conversation, which baffled them. Supremacy League, the peak of the titled rank, none of those words was something they could understand. Tang Ruyan and Zhang Lingtong started their job as the greeters as soon as the door was opened. Now and then, they would pick up something for Su Ping or run some errands. I'm here for my pet. Su Yingsu stood in front of the counter to pick up the pet she had left there the day before. Su Ping still remembered her. He browsed through the record, found her pet, and told Joanna to take the pet out. Soon, Su Yingsu's 7th-rank pet was taken to the storefront. The pet was so different from before that Su Yingsu had almost failed to recognize it. The contact and the bond told her that it was indeed her pet. Still, the violence in its eyes and the killing intent coming off from the pet had filled her with apprehension. How could this have happened after just one day? Zhang Lingtong, who was talking to the customers, was just as startled. Shy as she was quite observant. She still remembered the pet of the Element family. After all, that pet was a rare one, and the lady chose the professional training package. She was curious as to what the professional training was like. What she was seeing made her question if something had happened to her eyes. This was after the professional training. It was practically a different pet. One day and such drastic change. That training had to be comprehensive, covering the pet's natural traits, strength and energy, and everything. How could that have been done in one day? Your pet's combat strength can compare to the average 9th-rank beasts. You are welcome to find out in the test room. I wrote down the names of the new skills on this note, Su Ping stated. He had become more proficient in his job as time passed. He would write down the achievements of the training for each pet on a sticky note. That way, the pet's masters would immediately find out what was different about their pets. Su Yingsu could not believe this. 9th-rank beast. Her pet was at the 7th rank, and after just one day, he told her that her pet could compare to a beast of the 9th rank. Impossible. She had heard that the training in Su Ping's store was marvelous, and she did feel nervous standing in front of her pet. So, I'm going to test the progress of my pet, okay, she said, hesitating. Yep. Su Ping nodded and told Tang Ruyan to take Su Yingsu to the test room. After Su Yingsu left, Zhang Lingtong could no longer hold back her curiosity. She summoned enough courage, went to the counter, and asked Su Ping, "Sir, was that really something called training? How can you achieve that in merely one day?" As far as she could tell, not even a top trainer could have done that within such a short time. Su Ping didn't blame her for asking. He left her with a thought-provoking answer. What matters is not how much time you have, but how you use the time. Tong Lingtong nodded, still half confused. Su Ping told her to go back and see to the customers. He had to take care of the day's business as soon as possible so that he could head to the Supremacy League. Soon after, Su Yingsu arrived from the test room. She still felt she was having a dream and her feet were weak. If it weren't for the fact that she had just witnessed it with her own eyes, she wouldn't have believed a word Su Ping had just said. My pet indeed could compare to a 9th-rank beast. That is amazing. The advanced skills that her pet had learned were all quite impressive. She would never have imagined that this could be achieved within one day. That 100 million was so well spent. Mr. Su, Su Yingsu approached Su Ping, still feeling that the situation was surreal. She bowed to her waist and expressed her gratitude. Thank you so much. I will never forget your kindness. Su Ping didn't know she would be that excited. Of course, he was aware that other customers had also been freaked out by the result. Please, you're too kind. Remember, you did pay me money. Su Ping helped her up. The customers standing in the line were not surprised about this sort of reaction. Some new customers, even those who just went for the general training, would be so thrilled that instead of just saying thank you, they would even want to offer him presents, but he didn't accept any. Su Yingsu produced a forced smile. Money, compared to the result, 100 million was nothing. I will never forget, Su Yingsu insisted. She bowed to him again and left. Su Ping didn't know what to say. What a stubborn girl. After Su Yingsu left, Su Ping continued with the other customers. He did tell the customers who were there for the professional training that they would have to wait for a few days to up their pets, and that he would give them notice by then. After all, he would have to leave to get the talent stone. Those customers accepted gladly. The other stores would have to spend months in training. Su Ping was just asking for a couple of days. Soon, no more spots were available. The customers that were still waiting had to leave in disappointment. Su Ping turned the store to Joanna and told her to set up the dummy training. "Sir, when are you going to be back?" Zhang Lingtong asked. She was in a strange place and she had no friends there. Su Ping was the only one she was a little bit more familiar with. She was not happy since he was going to leave. "Don't worry, soon." Su Ping rubbed her head. Messing up her hair had put him in a good mood. Not a short-tempered girl. Unlike Tang Ruyan, Zhang Lingtong didn't get angry about her hair. She just eyed Su Ping with her watery eyes. Su Ping was never fond of the feeling of saying goodbye. He waved his hand, pretending to be unaffected. After some thought, he called the Swamp War Crocodile out. He was worried that he would encounter legendary battle pet warriors during the Supremacy League. The little skeleton was still awakening its bloodline and could not help him at the moment. The only powerful pet he had was the Inferno Dragon, whose combat strength had just surpassed 10. Relying on the Inferno Dragon was not safe enough. Chapter 484, Sensational. Su Ping reached the door. roared. A swirl popped up in the air. The huge swamp war crocodile appeared on the street outside the store. The street didn't cave in because of the heavy swamp war crocodile, all thanks to the store's protection. But the vibration on the ground was clearly felt. The swamp war crocodile had a long spine and cyan scales that seemed to be cast from iron. The barbaric and violent swamp war crocodile bellowed, again and again, unhappy to be standing in that place. The swamp war crocodile looked around with its amber eyes. It glanced at Qin Du Huang and the others who were standing across the street. The swamp war crocodile felt those people would make delicious snacks. Tang Ruyan and Zhang Lingtong had followed Su Ping to the door. The huge crocodile scared the two girls. Upon a closer look, the girls stood with their mouths agape. Across the street, Qin Du Huang was playing chess with his friend, and Mu Beihai and the other family heads were still standing outside as well. Everyone was frightened by the sudden bellows. They all stood up in fear and shock, struck dumb by that huge figure. "Is that a beast king?" The family heads were shuddering. A beast king in the base city, right in front of them. That overwhelming and terrifying aura produced by the beast king made them feel that they were puny insects looking at death in the face. Qin Du Huang squinted his eyes. The energy that had been dormant inside him for years was currently surging, spreading to all his limbs and bones. The old man stood up straighter and straighter. Under tremendous pressure, out of instinct, Qin Du Huang prepared himself for battle. Mu Beihai and the other family heads were so afraid that they were frozen on the ground, unable to move. As he stood by the door, Su Ping took the slave contract from his storage space and immediately applied it to the swamp war crocodile. In an instant, as the contract came in contact with the swamp war crocodile, many blood-red lines surrounded the beast, which began to retract until they were submerged into the swamp war crocodile. That process happened rapidly. To the naked eye, people were only able to see a brief glow of red, and then everything went back to normal. There was an addition of a violent consciousness in his mind. Su Ping was relieved. He jumped onto the back of the swamp war crocodile at once. "Take care of the store. I'll be back shortly," Su Ping said to the girls. Tang Ruyan and Zhang Lingtong were still dumbfounded. They felt their blood had frozen as they stood in front of that beast king. The pressure had made it impossible for them to breathe. They didn't even dare to answer Su Ping's words. Their reply was a silent look at him. Joanna walked out as she felt the presence of a beast king. She then understood that the beast king belonged to Su Ping after seeing him riding its back, so she immediately lost interest. If the beast king was there to wreak havoc, she wouldn't have minded killing it for fun. Qin Du Huang and the other family heads witnessed how Su Ping jumped onto the back of the beast king. They were so astonished that they stared woodenly, and their jaws were slack. That beast king was Su Ping's pet. He had a beast king pet before he reached the legendary rank. The family head stood on the spot, completely dazed. "Behave. Let's go," Su Ping ordered the swamp war crocodile. He felt this pet was a bit troublesome. He couldn't put it in his contract space. The second that the slave contract came into effect meant that the swamp war crocodile would have to stay outside. To move about in the base city on such a huge guy was indeed troublesome. The crocodile was almost as wide as the street that Su Ping had already widened on purpose. Taohuaxi Street was 2 times as wide as other streets. The crocodile could have smashed half of the buildings down if it were running on any other street. Roar. The pet bellowed once it felt Su Ping's control. All of a sudden, a huge stone pillar that seemed to reach the sky appeared all of a sudden in front of the swamp war crocodile. The swamp war crocodile climbed onto the stone pillar that was still growing and ran past the many buildings. The swamp war crocodile was a dragon subspecies, while it could also be counted as one of the stone family at the same time. The swamp war crocodile mastered quite a few skills of the stone family. Qin Du Huang and the other family heads had lost the ability to talk as they stared at the huge pillar and the beast king running on top of it. They already knew that Su Ping was powerful. He would become a legendary battle pet warrior in the future, even without the legendary battle pet warrior backing him. They never expected that Su Ping could already manipulate a beast king, even before becoming a legendary battle pet warrior. He could already contend with other legendary battle pet warriors with such a pet. That guy. Qin Duwang's mouth was agape. All of a sudden, he understood why Su Ping was willing to sell the two pets at the peak of the 9th rank the day before. They had merely thought that Su Ping already had enough pets at the peak of the 9th rank. It turned out that those pets weren't good enough for him. He has a beast king. Why would he want pets of the 9th rank? Not even 10 pets at the peak of the 9th rank could compare to even one limb of a beast king. Mu Beihai, Liu Tianzong, and the other family heads produced a forced smile after they came back to their senses. The swamp war crocodile was huge. Su Ping had to travel above the ground to make sure that no street would fall victim to the huge guy, and to avoid tampering with the city's water and power grids. Whoosh! The stone column was extending horizontally. This massive protrusion that had stretched across more than a dozen streets had alerted the public. They raised their heads and gazed into the sky. They couldn't see Su Ping nor the swamp war crocodile up in the clouds, but they were aware that the sudden appearance of the stone column indicated that a pet was using a powerful skill. That realization had scared many citizens. They worried that the stone column would collapse abruptly. Soon after, they reached an open land. Su Ping told the swamp war crocodile to go down and then strengthen the stone column. After the reinforcement, the stone column would not break unless someone deliberately attacked it. As for how to make the stone column disappear, that would be a problem for the mayor and the pets of the stone family he could deploy. Once in the wild, Su Ping told the swamp war crocodile to go full speed ahead. Dong, dong, dong. The swamp war crocodile ran on as fast as it could. The ground shook violently and many deep pits were left on the way. Su Ping had to admit that beast kings did travel fast. They had reached the city's interior wall in less than an hour. The noise and vibration made by the swamp war crocodile alerted the guards on the city's interior wall. They had to go to the watchtower and turn the telescope to see the base city's protected territory, which was a first. The huge swamp war crocodile scared some guards, leaving them with ghastly pale faces. But no alarm was sounded. Soon, two titled battle pet warriors flew over and stood in front of the swamp war crocodile, jittering. Su Ping told the swamp war crocodile to stop and looked at the two. "You must be Mr. Su." The two titled battle pet warriors summoned the strength to put on a smile while they were still fearful. Neither dared to stand too far from Su Ping, which would be considered impolite, and at the same time, they didn't want to stand too close because the swamp war crocodile had a pointed snout that could reach them with one push. At the moment, the two felt their blood was freezing. "Yes," Su Ping looked at them. The mayor has just told us to wait for you here. If you have any needs, you can tell us." The two were barely able to utter a full sentence. The pet that Su Ping was standing on was too powerful. The two could tell right away that the pet was a beast king. There was a worldwide consensus that beast king was synonymous with terror. But Su Ping was standing on one. That was something that a legendary battle pet warrior could do. "Oh, go and grab me a map of the Aurora base city," Su Ping said. The two looked at each other. One of them said, "Please wait for a moment. I'll go and get it right away." With that said, that person hurried away, leaving his partner there with Su Ping. The one who remained had just understood what had happened. He inwardly cursed all of his friend's family. Su Ping told the swamp war crocodile to walk forward, while he waited for that titled battle pet warrior to return with the map. The one who stayed there had to fly alongside the beast king. He was still trembling. He had heard that there was a legendary battle pet warrior in a pet store inside the base city, and that the store owner was a ruthless character. Even though he had heard such stories, he still could not imagine that the store owner could already have a beast king pet. He wasn't at the legendary rank yet. Chapter 485, Aurora Base City. Soon the swamp war crocodile had arrived at the outer wall. The captain and the guards that were stationed there were pale with fright. They knew that it was a pet, not a wild beast that would invade the base city. Still, they couldn't help but panic. Everyone was standing on the spot stiffly, and no one dared to make a move. The titled battle pet warrior that went to get the map had just returned. The map was comprehensive, including information of all the base cities in the subcontinent district. Su Ping accepted it gladly. He bid farewell to the two titled battle pet warriors. He rode the swamp war crocodile and dashed out through the spacious tunnel. Su Ping no longer had to be overly cautious in the wilderness. The swamp war crocodile could step on anything it wanted. Su Ping read the map while sitting on one of its scales. He soon found the location of the Aurora base city. He also saw where the Holy Light base city and the Jinghai base city were. The base cities were scattered across the subcontinent. The edge of the subcontinent district was hexagon-shaped, and outside the border was the ocean. Many beasts were found in the ocean, making it inaccessible to humans. Su Ping had also heard that not even legendary battle pet warriors dared to go across the sea. Su Ping identified a path and drove the swamp war crocodile toward their destination, Aurora Base City. While it was counted among the 7 Class A base cities of the subcontinent district, the Aurora Base City was the best in its size and military power. This was a base city that not even the 4 ancient families had a right to step in. The Aurora Base City was managed by the Free Trade Organization, and its citizens enjoyed a high level of liberty. Products that were considered contraband in other base cities could be traded publicly in this grand city. That included some contraband pets, potions, and skills. Powerful warriors and trainers were gathered in the Aurora Base City. The Free Trade Organization could be seen as a faction on par with the Star Organization, but not as compatible as the latter. After all, the Free Trade Organization was one that was in the business circle, not as an organization with violence as its main tool. The Supremacy League had always been held in the Aurora Base City. The sole sponsor was the Free Trade Organization. The Supremacy League was always where the powerful battle pet warriors gathered. That yearly gathering would bring along a huge number of transactions and profits to the Aurora Base City. No one had an idea about the wealth of the Free Trade Organization. It was said that they had enough money to buy 10 base cities. Many wide and well-developed highways could be seen outside the base city. The battle pet warriors from other base cities could drive to get there. At the moment, more than a dozen cars were parked outside the base city, several hundred meters away from the city wall. They were waiting to be checked to get in. Dong dong dong. All of a sudden, people felt the ground tremble. The noise alarmed the drivers and passengers, as well as the guards at the checkpoints. Everyone turned to the source of the noise. Yellow sandstorms were wreaking havoc in the horizon. They could faintly see a shadow that was as tall as a hill moving their way. What is that? Detect. Ring the siren. Beast King life energy detected. Inside the intelligence station on the outer wall, the guards used radars that were hidden in several places outside the base city. From the data collected, they realized that it was a Beast King heading their way. Sirens across the outer wall were sounded. What a terrifying realization. Was it an attack? The Aurora Base City was not a place that feared Beast Kings due to its core strength and military power, which were enough to scare away the average Beast Kings. However, Beast Kings were the most terrifying type of beasts on the blue planet. A base city would have to pay dearly when they wanted to deal with a Beast King without the help of a legendary battle pet warrior. The titled battle pet warriors who were currently on break were alerted. They flew to the side of the city the Beast King was approaching. The titled battle pet warriors wore grave expressions as if a war was imminent. The radars picked up some new data. Human being. On the back of the Beast King. Everyone in the intelligence station was stunned. Which legendary battle pet warrior was coming? They received the news when the guards were about to pull the citywide alarms. They notified the titled battle pet warriors instead. 2 of the titled battle pet warriors went to find out if a legendary battle pet warrior was coming, or if something was wrong in the data, or whether this was a ruse developed by the Beast King. They couldn't afford to be careless, because certain Beast Kings were just as intelligent as humans. Soon, the two battle pet warriors at the peak of the titled rank summoned their pets and were armed to their teeth. They finally got a clear look of the Beast King and the human being standing on its back when they were 1,000 meters away. "You are approaching the Aurora base city. Who are you, sir?" one of the titled battle pet warriors shouted. Su Ping, who was resting on the back of the swamp war crocodile, was startled by the shout. He opened his eyes and saw that he had arrived at the Aurora base city. The journey took him less than half a day when the distance was longer than that between the Longjiang base city and the Holy Light base city. If he would have taken the underground train, the trip would have taken him at least 2 days and a half. "Sir, is he talking to me?" Su Ping wondered. "I am Su Ping from Longjiang," he shouted back. The two titled battle pet warriors were relieved to receive a reply and at the same time surprised. Su Ping from Longjiang. What? They had never heard of him. "Is the Beast King your pet?" the titled battle pet warrior shouted again. That was just an obvious question. Su Ping really wanted to say no, but he had noticed the many weapons readied on the wall, including some short-range missiles. He realized that riding over on the swamp war crocodile had created a problem for this base city. He fought the urge to joke around and answered honestly, "Yes, this is my pet. Don't worry, it won't bite you." Without his permission, indeed, the swamp war crocodile wouldn't bite anyone. The two titled battle pet warriors produced a forced smile. Were there any beast kings that wouldn't bite people? The two titled battle pet warriors didn't trouble themselves with that. They just wondered when the subcontinent district had gained a third legendary battle pet warrior. Anyway, a man riding a beast king was not someone they could afford to offend. Su Ping moved closer, and the titled battle pet warriors saw that the man was young, maybe a little bit too young also. It surprised the two that Su Ping's energy didn't seem to be strong, even a little bit weaker than the average titled battle pet warriors. But that did not matter. Su Ping might be hiding his strength. One of the two titled battle pet warriors carefully arranged his speech. "Sir, you're going to enter the Aurora base city and your pet is too big. Could you put it away in your contract space?" Su Ping heaved a sigh. Not really. He knew that this was a disadvantage of a temporary contract. The two didn't know what to say after Su Ping's refusal, but they didn't want to displease him. One of them had to summon the courage to make another suggestion. "Sir, the base city has a large population. The Beast King will trouble many citizens. How about we set up a place for your Beast King?" Su Ping thought about it. "The Supremacy League competition will take place here, right? I'm going to participate. I may need to use this pet during the competition. How about you find me a place closer to the venue? That way, it'll be easier for me to summon it if needs be." The Supremacy League. The two titled battle pet warriors were surprised. They sized up Su Ping again. A legendary battle pet warrior would not make jokes like that. The Supremacy League was for people that were below the Beast King level. But legendary battle pet warriors were above that level. Was this young man some old freak at the peak of the 9th rank in disguise? The two looked at each other. They were thinking the same thing. Those at the peak of the titled rank could have a Beast King as a pet. Some could rub elbows with legendary battle pet warriors and get Beast Kings as pets. There was once a well-connected individual who came to know many legendary battle pet warriors in the tower and managed to get several Beast Kings. As such, the two titled battle pet warriors thought that Su Ping had to be someone who had just got his hands on a new pet and could not wait to show it off there, since he didn't want to put the pet away while knowing it was inconvenient. After all, the real legendary battle pet warriors would never brag about their Beast King pets. Being at the legendary rank in itself was awe-inspiring. Even so, the two titled battle pet warriors didn't show any change on their faces. Even though Su Ping was not a legendary battle pet warrior, one with a Beast King was still intimidating. "Sure, we'll find a place for you," one of the two said. "Good." Su Ping was happy about the result. He was aware that it was a special request. He also knew that he would have to bulldoze his way over and tear apart the entire venue if he were to take the swamp war crocodile directly to the competition. Every participant would go onto the stage and summon their pets. He was different. He would have to open up a hole in the wall and let the crocodile crawl in. Of course, Su Ping didn't plan to use the swamp war crocodile. He believed the Inferno Dragon was enough. He had taken the swamp war crocodile there because he wanted to guard against legendary battle pet warriors. He had many enemies. He didn't know if the legendary battle pet warrior who contended with him was in the base city. After their discussion, the two titled battle pet warriors told their guards to cancel the alarm. Then they showed Su Ping into the base city through a side path. The two would dart an occasional glance at the Beast King. It seemed that this Beast King was even more powerful than the other Beast Kings that they had met in the past. Their instincts told them that this pet was scary and that they should stay away. Led by the two along a path in the suburbs where the population was small, Su Ping arrived at a lake. The venue for the Supremacy League is just across the lake, not far from here. If you want to use the Beast King, you can tell the judge and we will send a person to show you the way so that you can take your pet over, one of the two explained to Su Ping. Chapter 486, Future Tang Family Head. Good. Su Ping nodded. He told the swamp war crocodile to quietly wait for him in the lake. The swamp war crocodile replied with a groan and then dived into the water. When looking from the distance, one would see a huge shadow in the lake, as if a kraken were lurking below the surface. After having found a place for the swamp war crocodile, Su Ping followed one of the titled battle pet warriors and flew to the other side of the lake across the bridge. The streets were bustling with noises. Most of the people gathered were battle pet warriors. There were also some peddlers crying their wares. Su Ping saw many billboards by the streets. All of them were related to the Supremacy League. "Sir, I have work to do, so I'll be seeing you around. If you have any questions, you can turn to one of the staff members here." That titled battle pet warrior didn't linger after he dropped Su Ping off. He flew back to the city wall to resume his duties. After he left, Su Ping landed on the street. The battle pet warriors who were walking around on the street darted a look at the person who had just descended from the sky, but none of them was alarmed. Titled battle pet warriors were rare in other base cities, but not in the Aurora base city. Besides, the streets would always be packed with titled battle pet warriors during the Supremacy League and with even more master and advanced battle pet warriors. Anything can be put on sale here. Blood nematodes. I've heard of such things. They are parasitic on other pets and would feed off the latter's blood. When hungry, they would even crawl into their masters for food. Su Ping wandered around the street. He saw many products on sale that were banned items in other base cities. He saw some beasts that could spread contagious diseases, some weapons that were designed to weaken battle pet warriors, even one that could expel all astral powers from a certain area, and another that could generate electricity and shock the battle pet warrior when he or she wanted to mobilize astral powers. Those dirty weapons could not be put on the public market in other base cities. Some assassination groups or adventurers would buy them on the black market so that they could hunt battle pet warriors as well when they encountered peers in the wilderness. After all, hunting unprepared fellow battle pet warriors would be much easier than hunting wild, dangerous beasts. Nothing was more venomous than a human heart. Beep, beep. While Su Ping was looking around, he heard his phone ringing. It was Qin Shuhai. "Yellow, Mr. Su, have you arrived yet?" Qin Shuhai sounded excited. Su Ping noticed that trace of excitement. He had a theory. Qin Duwang must have told Qin Shuhai when he left. "I have just arrived. Where are you?" Su Ping asked. It would be nice to meet Qin Shuhai there since Su Ping was completely unfamiliar with the place and the people. Qin Shuhai could show him around and tell him which stage the Supremacy League was at. "I'm standing by the stadium. Where are you? I can go and pick you up," Qin Shuhai answered. Su Ping looked around at the buildings and noticed a billboard that stood out. "I have just arrived in the area and am standing on the street. I can see a pet store called Shangri and a large billboard with a very curvy lady on it." "Very curvy?" "Yes. Do you recognize this place?" "Well, I think so. Wait for me." Su Ping hung up the call and stayed in that area. Soon he heard someone approaching from behind. It was Qin Shuhai as he flew over. "Ah, finally. Glad I didn't miss you." Qin Shuhai was relieved. For a moment he thought he had gone to the wrong place. Qin Shuhai looked at the billboard hung outside the bell tower. Was that the very curvy Lady Su Ping talked about? Yep, indeed, very curvy. The lady weighs more than 100 kilos. Qin Shuhai hid his complaints inside him. Su Ping was not who he was before. Qin Duwang called Qin Shuhai and told him what happened in the Longjiang base city. Qin Shuhai was dumbstruck when he heard that Su Ping was coming, riding on a Beast King. Beast King. Those two words alone had made his heart race. The fact that Su Ping could control a Beast King was proof that he was one of the best at the titled rank. Buttering someone up was a mission to be carried out as early as possible. Before the Elite League, Qin Shuhai would have watched the matches with Su Ping and refer to him as a brother. But at the moment, calling Su Ping brother was no longer possible for Qin Shuhai. He was aware of Su Ping's many deeds. He was sure that if everything went well, Su Ping could very likely become a legendary battle pet warrior. The friendship between Qin Shuhai and Su Ping, as a matter of fact, there wasn't much of a friendship to talk about. The two had never been on a hunting trip together before, and Qin Shuhai had never done Su Ping a great favor. As such, Qin Shuhai was afraid to address Su Ping as a brother. After all, even his family head would address him with respect. If Qin Shuhai insisted on calling him Brother Su, the distinction between generations would be in a mess. You don't have to call me Mr. Su. It sounds like I'm old. Su Ping wanted to correct Qin Shuhai's word choice and attitude. He was already too handsome to have peers or rivals. He didn't want to be too strong to be left without friends. How lonely would it be? Qin Shuhai laughed a hollow laugh. I heard that you rode a Beast King here. Mr. Su, you must be hell-bent on winning the championship. Su Ping heaved a sigh. I told you that you don't have to call me Mr. Su. I'm 19. You're making me feel weird. Brother Qin, you don't have to be so uptight with me. The words Brother Qin filled Qin Shuhai with strong emotions. Okay, then I won't stand on ceremony with you, Mr. Su. Anyway, how is the competition going? Su Ping asked. Qin Shuhai smiled. Mr. Su, don't worry, we're still at the preliminary stage. It's not the titled Battle Pet Warrior's turn yet, but I suppose you will get your turn tomorrow. The preliminary selection will end today. The selection is for the children from the major families or forces to have some fun and gain some experiences. The eliminatory rounds will end tomorrow. After that, participants at the titled rank can directly participate and fight for a good place. Su Ping nodded. He had arrived at a proper time as it was already afternoon time. He just had to wait one night and he would be able to participate. Mr. Su, you must be here for the championship, right? Qin Shuhai asked, and he lowered his voice to continue. I think you'll very likely win first place. But I heard that many senior battle pet warriors are coming to take part in the competition. Rumor has it that something is happening at the deep caves. Those guys want to come and get something to gain more strength. I suppose this year's Supremacy League will be very intense. Su Ping nodded. He wasn't worried. With the Inferno Dragon Witch had a combat strength of over 10 points. He would be able to defeat many battle pet warriors at the peak of the titled rank already. With the addition of the Dark Dragon Hound, he could even defeat a legendary battle pet warrior at the Ocean State. Of course, unless there would be someone incredible among those senior battle pet warriors, someone at the peak of the titled rank, but with strength equal to the Void State. But no one had ever heard of that, and it was very unlikely. Of all the peak titled warriors that Su Ping knew, Lang Yingjun, Aka, Venerable the Blade, was among the most famous. However, Su Ping was sure that the Inferno Dragon could be enough to overwhelm Venerable the Blade. What are the deep caves? Su Ping was curious. Qin Shuhai had become used to Su Ping's ignorance. Su Ping was like a man living in the woods, detached from the world. Many things that were seen as common knowledge for any titled battle pet warrior were new for him. Qin Shuhai explained, the deep caves are beast lairs. The cruelest and most violent beasts live there. I hear that beast kings are common and they come in great numbers. In the early days of the Blue Planet when beasts were running wild, the powerful battle pet warriors worked together and drove all the beasts to one place which later evolved into the deep caves. He went on, legendary battle pet warriors are guarding outside the deep caves all year round. Do you know why there are only 2 legendary battle pet warriors in our subcontinent district? There are other legendary battle pet warriors, but they have all gone off to the deep caves. It is said that the 2 legendary battle pet warriors will have to go as well when it is time for them to serve. That explained it. Qin Shuhai suddenly brought up something else. I've heard that the 4 ancient families and the Star Organization are sending participants to the Supremacy League as well. He was aware of what happened between Su Ping, the Tang family, and the Star Organization, and there were quite a few battle pet warriors at the peak participating in the Supremacy League. Su Ping didn't seem to be concerned. In his opinion, what happened between those 2 factions was water under the bridge. They would only meet again as strangers. Of course, if they still thought otherwise, he could persuade them. This way, Qin Shuhai said. They arrived at a huge venue where a dense crowd was gathered in front of the gates. Some people were carrying their cute pets on their shoulders or walking alongside them. Some pets were for battles, and some pets were cute companions. The second kind was quite popular with girls. That was the main reason why the number of battle pet warriors that majored in using pets of the undead family was small. It would be hard for those battle pet warriors to find a girlfriend, or a boyfriend for that matter. Whoosh! Qin Shuhai took to the skis. Su Ping did too. They flew their way to the gates. Some grains of sand fell onto some of the people standing on the ground as the 2 flew across the crowd. They were angry but afraid to shout at them. After all, they were at the titled rank, a kind of people that could slap a common man to death and not have to shoulder any responsibility. Titled battle pet warriors had their privileges. Soon, the 2 entered the stadium. Qin Shuhai unleashed some astral powers and moved an item across space. The guards allowed them in without having to see any tickets or invitations. People were cheering loudly in the stadium. A young man and a young lady were on stage. Both seemed to be in their mid-20s. Although young, both were master battle pet warriors. The Supremacy League was indeed of a higher level than the Elite League. Warriors could be qualified to be seen as talent if they reached the master level at about the age of 25. Su Ping remembered that Leng Yingjun became a master battle pet warrior when he wasn't even 20 years old. So, Leng Yingjun had been one of the outstanding young men in his youth. Of course, Su Ping could also realize how difficult it had to be to reach the legendary rank. Even after reaching the master rank before 20, Leng Yingjun was still stuck at the peak of the titled rank till this day. He had yet to take that final step. Qin Shuhai took Su Ping to the areas closer to the stage. The other areas were quite packed, but there were a lot of empty seats there, and the view was excellent. Su Ping noticed that everyone who was sitting there was a titled battle pet warrior. There were over 100 of them. That many titled battle pet warriors were enough to make a clean sweep of a Class B base city like the Longjiang base city. The young man on stage is a grandson of Senior LV from the LV family. The LV family is not one of the 4 ancient families, but they once had a legendary battle pet warrior. Once they took their seats, Qin Shuhai continued with the introduction. Many families that once had a legendary battle pet warrior failed to become part of the top-tier families due to various reasons, such as a shortage of talents or poor management. Even so, those families are not to be ignored or offended. The families that have legendary battle pet warriors serving at the deep caves are taken care of by the tower, and they enjoy a higher status than the 4 ancient families. Not even the legendary battle pet warriors out here would dare to displease those families. After all, if the young and their families are bullied, who would want to go and serve at the deep caves in the future? Su Ping asked. Does the Star Organization have a legendary battle pet warrior? They did, but that legendary battle pet warrior went to the deep caves many years ago, and I heard he passed away in the deep caves. Qin Shuhai thought of something. Scared, he added in a hurry, the Star Organization has no legendary battle pet warrior, but the tower has been taking care of them. What happened between you and the Star Organization is not a big deal, and what you asked of them would not hurt their foundation. Still, the tower would have stepped in if things had gone too bad. Su Ping nodded. He understood that Qin Shuhai was just providing a piece of honest advice. Of course, he didn't plan on doing anything to the Star organization to begin with. He was not a maniac. The past was long gone, water under the bridge. While Su Ping and Qin Shuhai were chatting, someone interrupted them. "Is that Mr. Su?" The two of them saw several people standing next to them with some elderly people in the group. Su Ping recognized Tang Minking amongst them. It was Tang Minking who asked the question. Qin Shuhai was a bit agitated. He was there on behalf of the Qin family. He was afraid that the Qin family would get involved in the dispute between Su Ping and the Tang family. The Tang family. Su Ping glanced over at Tang Minking and another elder of the Tang family that he once kept captive. The other old man in the group was also at the peak of the titled rank, just like Tang Minking. There were also a couple of middle-aged men that seemed to be at the upper position of the titled rank. The one who caught Su Ping's attention was the girl with bright eyes and graceful eyebrows standing in the middle. She seemed to be in her 20s. However, there was coldness on her face and indifference in her eyes. She seemed to be a girl completely void of emotions. Su Ping noticed that she looked familiar. He thought of Tang Ruyan. "And this is?" Su Ping raised his eyebrows. Tang Minking and the others were startled, seeing that Su Ping was gazing at the girl. They discreetly stood around the girl to protect her. "She is our future family head." Tang Minking smiled a hollow smile. He looked at Qin Shuhai, realizing he was the one titled King of Swords, a famous young titled battle pet warrior. But Tang Minking had never cared about people who couldn't grow further. Tang Minking was happy to see that the golden-haired girl was not present. Su Ping was also powerful, but Tang Minking was sure that with so many elders on their side, they would not lose to Su Ping if a fight were to break out. Future family head, that was within Su Ping's expectation. After remembering what they did to Tang Ruyan, Su Ping fixed his eyes on the girl. Tang Ruyan used to be the front. This girl was the real deal. "What? Aren't you afraid that your actual future family head could fall victim to assassination now?" Su Ping asked. Tang Minking forced a smile. "Ruyan has lost her value as a front and our future family head has been exposed. Hiding her is useless at this point. So we brought her to have a try at the Supremacy League. So Mr. Su, are you planning to participate as well?" Su Ping replied with a grin. "Are you implying that I have accidentally messed up your front?" "No, no," Tang Minking answered at once. The other family elders glared at Su Ping coldly. They knew that the actions of the legendary battle pet warrior from this young man's store had cost a feather army and a tactic army of the Tang family. They had lost 2,000 master battle pet warriors. That was a force large enough to cripple a Class C base city. Or even some Class B base cities. That was such a deep wound that the Tang family was grieved to the extent of wishing to die. That being said, they dared not to take revenge. The fact that 2,000 master battle pet warriors perished within one move was a shocking enough piece of news. Not even a legendary battle pet warrior could have done that. Su Ping looked at them for a while and inwardly heaved a sigh. It was rare that they would meet each other. However, none in the group asked anything about Tang Ruyan. It seemed that they didn't care for her at all. Is that how the family bonds worked in a big family? Su Ping could see the point, but could not accept it. "You view that gal as the front. But do you know what I think? This real future family head of yours is not all that good," Su Ping commented on the aloof girl. The girl was at the master rank, one rank higher than Tang Ruyan's. The girl was almost as talented as Venerable the Blade, but so what? After all, Venerable the Blade has been stuck at the peak of the titled rank for some time. Give the girl 10 years and provided that everything could go well, she would just be another Venerable the Blade. She would have to be extremely lucky to reach the legendary rank. Tang Minking, as well as the other elders, were furious to hear this ill-willed comment. "My sister is with you?" the girl asked. Cold as her voice was, it did sound sweet. Su Ping didn't answer her. "If you think she's too much of a bother, kill her," the girl added, and her face was just as indifferent as before. It seemed as if she weren't talking about a living and breathing person but an object that could be replaced. Su Ping was not happy about that. She cannot even be a double. She has no value and has nothing to do with the Tang family. If she displeases you, kill her. "None of us in the Tang family will mind," the girl calmly went on. All of a sudden, Su Ping felt a surge of anger inside him. He didn't know where that anger came from. After all, Tang Ruyan was just his prisoner. Why are all the younger sisters I meet so intractable? Su Ping asked. The girl frowned. It seemed that Su Ping was talking to himself. He looked into her eyes. The Tang family has made a grave mistake by choosing you as the future family head. At the very least, I think your big sister is much better than you are. If you say so. The girl didn't argue with him. Tang Minking frowned. Mr. Su, please enjoy the matches. We will excuse ourselves. Hopefully we'll see you around. Then they left without further ado. The other Tang family elders cast one final unkind look at Su Ping, but they didn't show their killing intent. They were smarter than that. To make an enemy of someone like Su Ping over some argument was pointless. The Tang family needed to save some dignity, and they would have broken into a fight with anyone else who dared to utter those words. But the legendary battle pet warrior behind Su Ping was just that threatening. After they were farther away, the elders set up a seal and whispered, "Is he that store owner Su? I don't see what the big deal is about him. He's just a big show-off just because of his connection with a legendary battle pet warrior, PTSS. Young lady, don't mind him. He's just a crazy man." The girl stayed composed. "I don't mind. All those people will be under my feet when I become a legendary battle pet warrior. I will lead the Tang family to a height never before reached. Indeed, that is your target, to become a legendary battle pet warrior." The others nodded with smiles. It was a good thing that she was unaffected. Their Tang family would climb to greater heights when their young mistress became a legendary battle pet warrior. Qin Shuhai fearfully watched the Tang family members leave and said, "She's impressive." The girl remained calm even while standing in front of two titled battle pet warriors. Qin Shuhai believed that, given time, the girl would surpass him. "Impressive?" Su Ping raised his eyebrows and snorted in contempt. What was impressive about her? A poker-faced girl, dead meat. Qin Shuhai didn't have the courage to utter a single word. Soon they heard another one calling Su Ping. "Mr. Su." Su Ping found that voice familiar. It was Venerable the Blade. "Are you here to participate as well?" Venerable the Blade asked with a forced smile. Chapter 487, Longjiang in Trouble. "You too?" "Not anymore." Venerable the Blade curled his lips. Since Su Ping was there, Venerable the Blade believed he could kiss the championship goodbye. Even without Su Ping, Venerable the Blade wasn't feeling that confident because the competition for that year was intense. "Venerable the Blade, who is this?" a man asked. Standing next to Venerable the Blade were two people. One was a hunchbacked old man with gray hair and the other was as strong as a bear. "This is Mr. Su. His title is—" "Well, Mr. Su, do you have a title?" Venerable the Blade started to make introductions. When titled battle pet warriors met for the first time, the respectful thing to do was to tell each other their titles. But Venerable the Blade suddenly realized he didn't know Su Ping's title. "I'm not at the titled rank yet. Once I reach that rank, I'd prefer to have boss as my title," Su Ping answered. Titles like Raging Spirit and King of Swords were already taken, and Su Ping had no interest in silly titles like those. He would title himself as the boss when he reached the 9th rank and became a titled battle pet warrior. How simple and elegant that was. Well, Venerable the Blade was speechless. Not at the titled rank yet. Su Ping is playing dumb again. Besides, what kind of title boss was? It didn't sound intimidating at all. Venerable the Blade said, "Mr. Su, a title is a public acknowledgement and you cannot choose one for yourself. Take Brother Qin here for an example. He has earned the title King of Swords because of his sword skills. Only a few people know you since you've always been close to the Longjiang base city. You can take advantage of the Supremacy League to establish your name. You'll get a title that people agree on." Qin Shuhai nodded in agreement. "I cannot decide my own title." Su Ping was speechless. Of course, he didn't care about this title to begin with. It was just what people would call him. That's how titles work. Venerable the Blade continued the previous introduction. "This is Mr. Hua, titled God of Earth. This is Brother Niu, titled God of Blood. Now, Brother Niu may come across as a cultured man, but he is fierce in battle, violent and heartless. Even I am afraid of him." The middle-aged man, titled God of Blood, stretched his head shyly and said with a blushing face, "Nonsense. I am nothing like that." His voice was insanely sweet. That voice made Su Ping's toes curl. A big guy who was as strong as a bear using such a honeyed voice was out of place. "Nice to meet you, God of Blood, God of Earth," Qin Shuhai said with respect. The two titled battle pet warriors had been famous for years. Su Ping was not aware of what was special about those two, but Qin Shuhai had heard many stories about them and their achievements. "Mr. Su, are you here for the Beast King and the legendary skill as well?" Mr. Hua sized up Su Ping curiously. He could sense how respectful Venerable the Blade was to that young man. A man who deserved Venerable the Blade's respect was certainly not an average man. However, this young man didn't strike him as intimidating, which made it all the more intriguing for Mr. Hua. Beast King and legendary skill, Su Ping didn't understand. Venerable the Blade and his two friends couldn't believe that Su Ping would react like that. Venerable the Blade asked, "Mr. Su, weren't you aware of this? The prizes for the championship this year are quite tempting. The talent stone, which is regularly offered every year, is not the only thing. The champion will get an adult Beast King pet and a legendary skill. I heard that even a titled battle pet warrior can display legendary rank strength after learning that skill, and that it can be very useful in the event of having to face a legendary battle pet warrior." Su Ping turned to Qin Shuhai. Qin Shuhai was a little bit embarrassed. "I never found the time to tell you that. Indeed, this is the case. More prizes are on the table because there are more participants this year, and the competitions are more intense than in the past. That explains it." However, Su Ping was not interested in this. He just wanted the talent stone. "Are you all here for the Beast King pet and the legendary skill?" Su Ping asked. Venerable the Blade produced a forced smile. "Yes, the talent stone doesn't mean much for us. Of course it is miraculous, but one has to rely on one's own luck. Sometimes the talent stone does nothing, but I think I'll have to quit now that I know Mr. Su is also going to participate." "Good luck, Mr. Su." Venerable the Blade was disappointed. He had been craving a Beast King pet and that legendary skill. His strength could be improved if he could get those prizes. He might even find a way to reach the legendary rank with the help of that legendary skill. However, he had seen Su Ping's pets. The little skeleton was ferocious, and it could even slay a battle pet warrior at the peak of the titled rank. The little skeleton was not a pet that he could defeat. Venerable the Blade was certain that the little skeleton had strength at the Beast King level. With a battle pet like that, there was a great chance that Su Ping could win first place. Both Mr. Hua and God of Blood were stunned to hear Venerable the Blade's words. He was so confident moments before. Why quit just after hearing that this Mr. Su would also compete? Both knew Venerable the Blade very well. They could not believe that the young man was threatening to a degree that even Venerable the Blade would fear competing. The two put on grave expressions. "Sure." Su Ping nodded. He didn't try to talk Venerable the Blade out of quitting. Since he was forfeiting, Su Ping would no longer have to encounter Venerable the Blade on the stage. After all, they were both aiming to get first place. As long as they could defeat their competition, if both were to participate, they were bound to meet on the stage. Mr. Hua and God of Blood found it even more curious that Su Ping would reply so calmly. "Mr. Su, this must be your first time in the Aurora base city. Let me buy you dinner tonight," Venerable the Blade said with a smile. He concealed his disappointment. "Good." Su Ping nodded. "Brother Qin, why don't you join us?" Venerable the Blade said to Qin Shuhai. Gladly surprised, Qin Shuhai immediately agreed. In the meantime, in a luxurious private room at the stadium, the people in the private room were able to enjoy a view over the entire stadium. Standing in front of the French sash were three people. The one standing in the middle was holding a wine glass, with the other two standing behind with their heads down. People would be surprised to see the two treating someone else with such respect and be so obsequious, because they were both well-known battle pet warriors at the peak of the titled rank. "Ready?" The middle-aged man standing in front of the glass glanced over the stadium. He had seen some familiar faces, like the Venerable the Blade and God of Blood. They were chatting with someone. He didn't care, so he looked past them quickly. He knew people like Venerable the Blade and God of Blood. Both were quite outstanding, young battle pet warriors at the peak of the titled rank and could grow to be legendary battle pet warriors. But this would not happen right then. If they could, then they would be so talented that even the tower would value them. The middle-aged man looked past the others in the area. An old man standing behind him answered with respect, "Sir, we are ready. The bait is cast. Let's see how many fishes we can get." The middle-aged man squinted his eyes and grinned. That night, Venerable the Blade played the host and booked a room in an expensive restaurant nearby. Su Ping noticed that most of the customers present were titled battle pet warriors, and their prices had marveled him. The restaurant was even better at making money than he was. Dragon liver in brown sauce, boiled phoenix breast with baked wheaten paste. Venerable the Blade ordered some dishes and then handed the menu to Su Ping, who picked something according to the reference pictures and introductions. Each dish would cost at least over 100,000 federal coins. They could eat up several million that night, and they didn't even order any wine considering the competition the following day. Everyone knew that wine was always more expensive than food. The same rule applied in that restaurant. The alcohol was distilled from advanced beasts. Su Ping had opened his eyes and feasted his mouth. He would usually go back home for meals, never having tried something that fancy. After dinner, upon knowing that Su Ping had yet to find a hotel, Venerable the Blade helped Su Ping book a room right then. Once they had finished dinner to their heart's content, and Su Ping told Qin Shuhai to return to their rooms with him, Su Ping realized that Qin Shuhai didn't book a room in the same place. He had merely booked a room in a hostel nearby. Identity, power, and wealth. Su Ping had seen the representation of all those on Venerable the Blade. Titled battle pet warriors were on a different level. In the average base cities, any titled battle pet warrior would be treated with the utmost respect. But in this base city, only people like Venerable the Blade, who was at the peak of the titled rank, could enjoy such privilege. People would recognize him. On the contrary, Qin Shuhai wasn't that well known. The night passed. Nothing special happened. The next day, Su Ping got up, freshened up, and went to the lounge. He ordered some breakfast. He was spending astral coins that couldn't be converted into energy points anyway, so he didn't mind. He treated himself to a lavish breakfast. When he went to pay the bill, he realized he had spent 1 million on breakfast alone, which surprised him a bit. But that wasn't an entire waste of money. Su Ping had realized the night before that, while pricey, the food they served was outstanding. There were astral powers contained in the food. Su Ping felt his astral powers would be improved if he could eat several meals there. Of course, that level of improvement would not be significant for titled battle pet warriors. It turns out that the rich people are not enjoying happiness as I had imagined. They're enjoying a happiness that I could never imagine. Su Ping exclaimed to himself. Soon, Venerable the Blade came down and invited Su Ping for breakfast, but Su Ping told him he had already eaten. They left together once Venerable the Blade finished breakfast. The official competition starts today, but this is just the beginning. It'll be the turn for those who have just reached the titled rank to warm up the stage, Venerable the Blade said. He had participated in the Supremacy League before and he was very familiar with the rules. Su Ping raised his eyebrows. When will the final match take place? In a few days, Venerable the Blade answered. That being said, I think you can go up to the stage and show some of your skills. After all, you haven't gathered enough fame among the titled battle pet warriors. You can make a debut and let people get to know you. That way people will recognize you wherever you go in the future. This will be a good time for you to build some connections. Su Ping didn't promise anything. They arrived at the stadium and met God of Earth and God of Blood. The two thought they might be able to see how strong Su Ping was this day. Venerable the Blade desired to talk his friends into giving up. He was aware that those two were also there for the first place. Sooner or later they would meet Su Ping, the freak, on the stage and they would lose. But it didn't seem proper to persuade others to give up. It might backfire. After all, battle pet warriors at the peak of the titled rank had their pride. Venerable the Blade decided not to say anything. They went inside and Su Ping saw Qin Shuhai who was approaching them. Su Ping also saw the group from the Tang family in the distance as well as Zai Ganj. But Zai Ganj didn't notice Su Ping. He was chatting with others. Those are the core members of the Star organization. They are all at the peak of the titled rank, Venerable the Blade said. Su Ping nodded. God of Earth was curious. Mr. Su, you know people from the Star Organization. Yes, Su Ping nodded and said, I had some dealings with them. Venerable the Blade curled his lips. Sure you have. You almost beat that guy to death. God of Earth and God of Blood cast a meaningful glance at Su Ping. It's starting. Venerable the Blade looked at the stage. They found a place to sit down. The stadium was fully packed. Most of the people in the audience were battle pet warriors instead of the general public. What happened on the stage would be too complicated for the general public to appreciate. Titled battle pet warriors could move faster than sound. Normal people would be unable to see a thing with their naked eyes and would eventually get bored. The Elite League was better for the general public. The higher the competition's level was, the more targeted the audience would be. That was how things worked. Soon, someone that seemed to be a referee entered the stage. He stood in the air and announced the rules. There were multiple modes of competition. The first was to draw lots. All the selected participants from the preliminary rounds and the titled battle pet warriors could draw lots as a way to decide their turns. Every participant would have 2 chances. Whenever someone lost a round, a lot could be drawn again for a second challenge. But if they were defeated twice, they would have to accept that sorrowful fate. The second way was to defend the ring. Some famous battle pet warriors at the peak of the titled rank could go up to the stage. If there was no challenge after 2 attempts in a row, the titled battle pet warrior would directly move up to the next round. That was a special way set up for the powerful. It would save time and energy, and also come as a method to demonstrate the status of those battle pet warriors at the peak of the titled rank. Isn't that the family head of the Qin family? Rumors said he had already passed away. I'm surprised to see that he's still alive. All of a sudden, Venerable the Blade noticed someone. God of Earth and God of Blood turned to see, clearly surprised. God of Earth lowered his voice. That old dude has gone off the radar for over 100 years. How is he still alive? No wonder the Qin family can maintain their status in the Hukou base city. It turns out that this old dude is supporting the family in secret. I see that the Beast King and the legendary skill are quite attractive. Even those guys are coming out. Noticing that Su Ping was curious, Venerable the Blade explained. That old man reached the peak of the titled rank 100 years ago, then disappeared after a tremendous battle. I thought he had died. I didn't know he had survived back then. I suppose my grandpa was still an infant when he made a name for himself. Su Ping looked at that person. The old man had gray hair and was wearing a cyan robe which gave him an elegant look. He was surrounded by a group of titled battle pet warriors who were also wearing cyan robes. As if having felt their gazes, the old man turned around. He nodded to Venerable the Blade and God of Earth and then looked away. As for Su Ping, a stranger, he ignored him directly. Su Ping didn't even hide his gaze and had alerted him. The old man was not in the mood to pay attention to someone who didn't know how to hide one's gaze. The family head of the Lin family is here. Gee, the Beast King is out of my reach this time, God of Earth said, but he didn't look that afraid. God of Blood looked at that one with a concerned expression. Venerable the Blade noticed and flashed a bitter smile, then shook his head and heaved a sigh. Su Ping alone was a monster who was strong enough to defeat them all. Venerable the Blade felt glad that he had already decided to stay out of the competition and stayed there for the fun of it. Otherwise, he could not even begin to imagine how much pressure he would be under. While they were talking, the first round began. Su Ping, God of Earth and God of Blood didn't go to draw the lots. They were going to defend the ring. It was a default consensus that drawing lots was a method used to give a chance for the newcomers. As for people who could win a place in the top 10 or even get the championship, they would still not get involved at this stage. The first 2 on the stage were 2 titled battle pet warriors. A great battle was on the verge of breaking out. Both summoned all of their battle pets. However, one party who was at one position higher quickly defeated the other. The opening match was quite intense, and the atmosphere at the stadium was ignited. Then the second group and the third group. People were getting increasingly excited. All of a sudden, Su Ping noticed that the young family head of the Tang family he had met the day before was one of the participants in a new group. She was doing this as well. While Su Ping was still confused, her opponent, a titled battle pet warrior, had just entered the stage. Their battle broke out. Her battle pets were all rare ones of the 9th rank, and they were all adults. Her major pets were at the upper position of the 9th rank. The girl's commands were composed and accurate. Her major pet explored the way and relied on itself to crack the defense of their opponent. She won. She won fast and rapidly. There was no struggle. A master battle pet warrior had won against a titled battle pet warrior. She won. The audience were thrilled to the point of insanity. Almost everyone present was a battle pet warrior. All of them knew how unbelievable that was. The gap between the master rank and the titled rank was not one that could be easily crossed. Master battle pet warriors could share their pets, vision, perception, and so on. But titled battle pet warriors were even scarier. Titled battle pet warriors could synchronize their astral powers with their pets. They could channel all their pets' energy into themselves, and could also transfer all of their astral powers to their pets. That was not 1 + 1 = 2. It was not even 3. A pet at the lower position of the 9th rank could burst out the strength of the intermediate position of the rank. When receiving astral powers from a battle pet warrior at the lower position of the 9th rank. A pet at the peak of the 9th rank. When receiving astral powers from a battle pet warrior at the peak of the titled rank, was able to mobilize enough strength to be on par with the Beast King level. An analogy was when Su Ping punched at the seal, and people began to think that he was at the peak of the titled rank. But of course, pets at the peak of the 9th rank were not Beast Kings after all. There was still a vast gulf in between. Even with such abilities, the titled battle pet warrior lost. Everyone was shouting the girl's name. Su Ping had finally found out her name, Tang Ruyu. Ruyan and Ruyu. One gentle girl and one cold. Su Ping frowned as he stared at the girl who was standing in glory. He thought of Tang Ruyan. Su Ping snorted. Tang Ruyu. It seemed that the future family head was made known to all this day. Amid everyone's cheers, the girl quietly stepped off the stage, as if her win wasn't worth mentioning. She darted a glance at Su Ping and made eye contact with him for less than 0.1 seconds as she was descending from the stage. Su Ping detected a trace of well-hidden coldness. It was merely one instant, but Su Ping was always perceptive to killing intent. He could tell the girl had ill intent. She tried to hide it, but he did notice. Su Ping squinted his eyes. The Tang family was not giving up, but he didn't want to go and find trouble with the Tang family just because of this. Same as before, he was going to let bygones be bygones. Of course, unless the Tang family wanted to offend him again. Until then, the Tang family would have to hold back their killing intent. A killing intent being held back for life would no longer be a killing intent. It was obsession. Another group went up to the stage, soon after the girl had gotten off the stage. While the two were competing, Su Ping heard a beep. It was Qin Shuhai's phone. Qin Shuhai was surprised to see that the number was from Qin Duwang. He thought Qin Duwang was going to ask him if he had picked Su Ping up. He picked up the call. "Hey man, Shuhai, has the competition started?" Qin Duwang asked. He sounded concerned and anxious. Qin Shuhai would rarely see his old man in such a panic. "Just beginning. Is this about Mr. Su? I picked him up. He's sitting right next to me." "Good, come back now that Mr. Su is there. Something is happening at the Longjiang base city," Qin Duwang stated. Qin Shuhai was stunned. "What?" "Beasts are gathering outside the base city. I think a strike is going to happen soon. There are Beast King readings on the radar. Don't enter the city from the east side. Be careful on your way back." Qin Duwang was serious. "Beast strike." Qin Shuhai turned pale. "How is it? Are the beasts inside the base city now?" "Not yet. The beasts are still gathering. Okay, I have to hang up. I need to call some old friends and ask them for help." Qin Duwang hung up immediately. Qin Shuhai was worried. "What is it?" Su Ping noticed something was off. Qin Shuhai used a soundproof seal when he answered the call, and Su Ping didn't intend to pry. "Mr. Su, something is wrong at the base city. I heard that beasts are gathering outside the base city and there are beast kings. There may soon be a full-on strike." Qin Shuhai sounded nervous. Su Ping was surprised. Beast strike. Venerable the Blade looked at Su Ping upon hearing those words. Longjiang Base City was his hometown. How are things? Are the beasts inside the city now? Su Ping asked in a hurry. He thought of his mother, but she mostly stayed within the bounds of the store. Nothing would happen to her as long as she remained there. Not yet. The beats are still gathering. Qin Shuhai frowned. Mr. Su, I cannot keep you company. I need to find some friends and go back. Su Ping heaved a sigh. He still had time to go back. The competition on the stage had just ended. After a moment of hesitation, Su Ping made up his mind. Okay, you go ahead and I'll be right behind you. Be careful. With that said, he jumped off and landed on the stage. The judge, as well as the two titled battle pet warriors that were going to compete, were startled. And you are? The judge asked in confusion. His tone was mild given the fact that Su Ping did fly to the stage. I'm sorry, Su Ping said to the judge. He shouted to where the titled battle pet warriors were gathered. I am Su Ping from Longjiang. I'm here for the championship and I will win. But I'm in a hurry. Anyone who wants to win the championship, come and fight me. If no one comes, I will be the champion. Chapter 488. The average are not entitled to meet my pets. Everyone was too stunned to speak. Venerable the Blade, and the others gazed at him in horrified disbelief. It was against everyone's expectations that Su Ping would jump onto the stage and say those crazy words. He was challenging everyone in the stadium. Of course, many were there for the championship, but no one would be so wild as to shout it out in public. After all, there could be other old, senior battle pet warriors who had been long retired from the society. No one could have the absolute confidence to win against everyone present. The final match would be won with a great bloodshed. The Beast King Pet and the legendary skill would not be obtained easily. Either one of the two items would make a group of people contend, with their heads cracked and bleeding. But at this moment, Su Ping was standing above the stage, claiming that he was going to be the champion. How arrogant and how eager he was to take the road to ruin. After a short moment of silence, the judge came back to his senses. Angrily, he said, Sir, this is the Supremacy League. I understand that you want to win first place, but we have our rules, and I believe you're also a man of high status. What is your number? Our staff members will call you when it is your turn. Su Ping turned around. He gave a sharp look at the judge. I know that this is the Supremacy League, Su Ping said solemnly, and I do know that you have your rules. But at the end of the day, the rule is that you're going to pick out a champion in a fair way. Su Ping glanced at the crowd and cast a final look at the place where the titled battle pet warriors were gathered. I am going to get first place. As for second place, third, and so on and so forth, you do whatever you want to do. I'm in a hurry. I will leave as soon as I win the championship. Wild. All the people at the stadium had lost the ability to talk. Leaving as soon as he wins the championship. In a hurry. Who the heck do you think you are? So many VIPs are sitting here waiting and you say you're in a hurry. The judge's face became clouded. Bro, you're making trouble here. I will escort you off the stage if you don't go off right this second. The judge unleashed his astral powers. He was at the peak of the titled rank. He was a member of the Free Trade Organization, the sponsor of the league and the provider of the venue. Given his status as a member, this man was representing them as the judge. Su Ping pulled a long face. He looked into the judge's eyes. I have said my piece. I am taking the championship today. I don't care if a legendary battle pet warrior is here. I will be your first challenger. Oh, I'll deal with you, sure. The judge flew into a rage. He unleashed more astral powers. It was as if there were a huge mountain growing out from behind him. He was going to overwhelm Su Ping. Su Ping was about to make a move when someone near the stage shouted, We don't need Senior Yan to deal with this punk. I will teach you a lesson. Hardly had this man's voice faded away, a man had landed on the stage. It was a tall and strong man. He stood on the stage, sturdy like an iron tower. Taller than Su Ping, he was able to look down on the ladder. Hey dude, I see that you're also a titled battle pet warrior. Where are you from? Tell me your name and your title. I, the Ice King, will not beat up anyone that doesn't have a title. You want to challenge me? Su Ping squinted. You are too weak for that. He then ignored the tall and strong guy whose face had changed color. Su Ping looked over the man's shoulder and shouted toward the seating area where the titled battle pet warriors were gathered. Is there anyone at the peak of the titled rank? Anyone below that position shall not come here and waste my time. How arrogant silence prevailed. No one had ever seen anyone act so arrogantly. Those who weren't at the peak of the titled rank are not to step on the stage. That sentence had enraged every titled battle pet warrior who was not at the peak. Punk, you are courting death. The strong man titled Ice King was fuming at his mouth. He turned to the judge. Senior Yan, please step back. I will deal with this punk. Yes, Senior Yan, let him. Where is this guy from? He doesn't know how high the sky is and how thick the earth is. Ice King, spare him a breath so that I may punch him to death. Many titled battle pet warriors growled. Those who weren't at the peak of the titled rank were not qualified to come up to the stage. Had this guy never heard about people fighting others above their own ranks? Many of the titled battle pet warriors, although not at the peak, had the strength of that position. Su Ping had belittled all of them. That was outrageous. Su Ping had made the public angry. The judge darted a cold glare at Su Ping. He would save other participants when they were about to lose. But Su Ping, he swore that he wouldn't bat an eye, even if Su Ping was dying right under his nose. They were at the Aurora Base City. That was a place under the control of the Free Trade Organization. No one cared where Su Ping was from. Anyone who wanted to make trouble there would be courting death, sure. The judge nodded. You both know the rules, right? No one can beat the other to death on purpose. With that said, he said to the working staff, activate the seal. The Ice King grinned hideously and said, don't worry, I won't do that on purpose. I wouldn't do it on purpose, but I'll kill this punk. This punk humiliated me in public. No one shall disgrace a titled battle pet warrior. There's no need to activate the seal. I said, don't waste my time. Su Ping also flew into a rage. As he stared at the ferocious face of the Ice King, Su Ping mobilized astral powers to his hand. The chaotic star chart spun. The cores in his cells were spinning rapidly. Astral powers surged out. After the heavens test, his astral powers were lightweight but powerful. Star prism. Bang! Su Ping stepped forward. That stomp stirred up the dust. Next, Su Ping propelled himself forward. The stage trembled. He moved about with lightning speed, bolts of lightning surrounding his feet. In an instant, Su Ping reached the Ice King. The Ice King could not believe it. It was happening too fast. Su Ping was so fast that his eyes and his consciousness had not been able to catch up to his speed. As Su Ping reappeared, all the Ice King could see was a pair of eyes that were like those of a wolf. Astral shield. Death was coming. His instinct pulled the Ice King from a daze that lasted for less than 0.1 seconds. Astral powers surged within him as many astral shields appeared. At the same time, he began to use one of the ice skills he had learned. Cold air burst out from him. The temperature was dropping drastically. The air froze. There was an ice wall with many harsh spikes. FK off, Su Ping bellowed. He punched. Bang! The ice wall cracked and the many astral shields behind the ice wall fell into pieces. One had to admit that the dancing pieces in the air were quite stunning. Ice King was unable to see what had happened. His back was hunched as he flew backward toward the place where the titled battle pet warriors were seated. Whoosh! Two titled battle pet warriors flew over to catch the Ice King. However, the huge impact smashed away the two as well. They fell in the seating section. Several seats were broken as they landed, ending up in an embarrassing position. The two who went up to help were at the upper position of the titled rank. They hurried to stand and tried to help Ice King to his feet. The rest who had not made a move to catch Ice King could not imagine how strong the impact was. The two darted a look at Ice King, only to see that he was out like a light. One punch astounded everyone. The Ice King was punched off from the stage. Ice King was not at the peak of the titled rank, but he was at the intermediate position, and his unique skills had made him famous. However, Su Ping had defeated him within 1 instant. Many people decided that they had to take Su Ping seriously. The judge called Senior Yan was standing in a daze. It never occurred to him that Su Ping would win. Anyone else? Su Ping put down his hand. I'm in a hurry, come on and make it quick. Su Ping's voice was the only sound that echoed in the stadium. Insane. Insane. The battle pet warriors, who were there just to watch the competitions, were stunned speechless. One punch to defeat a titled battle pet warrior. Where was that guy from? After a short moment of silence, Su Ping heard a cold voice coming from downstage. Don't be so ridiculous. Try me. A man who was a little bit over 30 flew to the stage. He was carrying a special spear with a thick handle that had a dragon image engraving. It's Venerable the Spear. He's here. Many people recognized that man. In the entire subcontinent district, there was only this one spear, and its master was Venerable the Spear, who was at the upper position of the titled rank. Once, with one move, he slew a beast at the peak of the 9th rank. He made a name after that. That was how he got his title. Su Ping looked at the man. A glint of coldness flashed past his eyes. I said, only those at the peak of the titled rank are entitled to come up here. Whoosh! Bolts of lightning were circulating his feet. He stepped forward in the air as if he were standing on solid ground. People could even see the air caving in. With a bang, the stage shook and a deep footprint appeared. In the meantime, Su Ping had approached Venerable the Spear. Venerable the Spear didn't expect that Su Ping would resort to action so quickly. Of course, Venerable the Spear would not pull his punches. He drew his spear and opened up 3 swirls behind him. Roar! Roar! 2 angry bellows dashed out from 2 of those swirls. The 2 were quite violent pets. One was a dragon at the 9th rank, a flame-armored dragon. The other one was a demon pet that looked like a huge octopus with countless black tentacles. The 2 pets struggled out from the swirls, making threatening cries. The 3rd pet, on the other hand, was a dainty thing with its body almost transparent. There was a puff of wind surrounding it. As soon as it came out, the pet cast a ring on Venerable the Spear. As this happened, the other 2 pets were transferring their energy to Venerable the Spear. Everything happened within the blink of an eye. The more powerful the battle pet warrior was, the quicker the summoning would be. The well-trained pets would be ready to unleash their skills the moment they came out from the swirl. Phew! Venerable the Spear's dark hair danced. In an instant, his strength had increased to the peak of the titled rank. A beam of light burst out from his spear. He eyed Su Ping sharply. Su Ping had already reached him by then. He ignored the spear and looked right into Venerable the Spear's eyes. Piss off. He hurled his fist once more. Courting death. Venerable the Spear was full of wrath. He had never been so angry before. Even titled battle pet warriors at the peak would treat him nicely, at the very least in public occasions. The spear trembled. He became one with the spear. The beam of light from the spear spun as it approached Su Ping. Many titled battle pet warriors who were near the stage turned pale from fright. That is Dragon Slayer. Venerable the Spear is aiming to take his life. Many people had recognized that Venerable the Spear was using the skill that had once earned him the title, the skill with which he had killed a dragon at the peak of the 9th rank. People were unaware of the actual name of the skill, but they had come up with a name themselves. It never occurred to anyone that they would witness the usage of that skill right then and there, on that stage. Senior Yan was turning pale as well. Out of instinct, he wanted to stop that move, but he hesitated and stopped before he took any action. Su Ping threw a punch simultaneously. Fist of Exorcist. Killing intent spread out from Su Ping's eyes. He could feel that his opponent was aiming to kill him. Su Ping's original idea was to knock this opponent out, but at this moment he had lost his temper. Come on. Bang! The fist and the spear clashed. A loud noise was heard, caused by the collision of their astral powers. The next thing that people saw was Venerable the Spear flying backward. The integration of Venerable the Spear and his weapon had been broken. He was flying toward the seats at a speed faster than when he flew to the stage. Only this time no one went to help him. With a bang and a tremor, Venerable the Spear landed on the ground. Fortunately, he landed on a place with empty seats. The seats were smashed into a mess, scattering around a pit that had just appeared. Inside the pit was Venerable the Spear. The spear fell next to him. People took a closer look at the spear, which appalled them. The spearhead was broken. The handle was bent. The spear was Venerable the Spear's life. Many people understood that he had spent a lot of money and invested a large number of rare materials to have the spear cast. One could imagine how strong it was since it could pierce through a dragon at the peak of the 9th rank. But the spearhead had been broken that day. As for Venerable the Spear, many titled battle pet warriors could tell that while he was still alive, he was barely breathing. Horrifying. In a fit of terror, people turned around and looked at the young man standing in the air above the stage. The young man was still arrogant, and people realized he had a right to be that way. Whoosh! Su Ping slowly landed on the stage. The average titled battle pet warriors are not entitled to see my pets just yet. I said, those who are not at the peak shall not come up here and waste my time. His voice was heard by everyone, echoing in the stadium. Many people had just noticed that Su Ping had yet to summon his pets. He relied on his physical strength, instantly defeating Venerable the Spear. Terrifying. Some at the peak of the titled rank had already noticed it. The moment Venerable the Spear was defeated, they began to take Su Ping more seriously. On the stage, Senior Yan was frozen on the spot. He looked awful. He thought he should say something but could not ascertain what to say. It was too late to stop Su Ping. Before the two fights, he could have gotten Su Ping off the stage, accusing him of disturbing the match. However, Su Ping had made it clear that his strength was indeed at the peak of the titled rank. The highest rank and position below the legendary rank. Those at the peak of the titled rank were the ones likely to win the championship. There were differences between those battle pet warriors, of course. They would have to excel in their usage of skills, pets, treasures, and experience. The judge could no longer find a reason to get rid of Su Ping. After a short moment of silence, people broke into commotion. Some people in the audience would point at the stage and whisper to each other. Anyone would welcome good drama. Many in the audience turned to the titled battle pet warriors, wondering if anyone would challenge the young man again. As for the rules, the most important rule was to fight for first place. Since someone was defending the ring at the moment, it was a saving time tactic. He would become the champion unless someone was able to defeat him. Next to the stage, the titled battle pet warriors looked at each other speechlessly. Those who had just reached the titled rank or even those at the upper position were too afraid to stand up. They were angry at Su Ping, but they knew that they were too weak to confront him. Venerable the Spear was powerful enough. Other titled battle pet warriors could defeat Venerable the Spear, but no one would have done that so effortlessly. The most intimidating thing was that Su Ping never summoned his battle pets. He didn't borrow his pets' energy. That was the most threatening thing about Su Ping. The new titled battle pet warriors turned to those at the peak of the titled rank. Only those people could fight the lunatic on the stage. The Tang family, Tang Minking as well as the other Tang family elders were staring blankly at the stage. It was against anyone's expectation that the competition would turn out like this. Su Ping had engaged in wild talk. Furthermore, for 2 times in a row, he had marveled everyone present. He is crazy. Tang Minking produced a forced smile. He had witnessed how insane Su Ping was in the store. In this world, Su Ping had to be the only one who would dare to provoke the Tang family and the Star organization at the same time. The other elders were scared. They had heard from Tang Minking how frightening Su Ping was. It turned out that the young man was not only powerful but also mentally unstable. He who went up to the stage to challenge everyone was not arrogant but deranged. Sitting between them was Tang Ruyu. She stared at the young man who was looking down on everyone. For the first time, there was a glint of surprise in her eyes that were always void of all feelings. Chapter 489. Anyone else? No more, Su Ping's cold voice echoed in the stadium. He stood on the spacious stage, with all eyes on him, and him looking down on the audience from that height. He looked at titled battle pet warriors disdainfully out of the corner of his eye. The average titled battle pet warriors would look away when his look landed on them, afraid to make eye contact with Su Ping. Only a few remained calm, as if not minding Su Ping's cry of arrogance. Brother Leng, this friend of yours, god of earth and god of blood, were surprised that Su Ping had turned out to be such a wild young man. They would have treated him as a joke if he had no tangible abilities. but they had witnessed with their own eyes how incredible Su Ping was. He definitely had strength equal to the peak of the titled rank. Also, Su Ping might be a practitioner of physical arts. God of Earth and God of Blood were itchy to have a try. Su Ping was intimidating for sure, but they weren't any weaker. Most importantly, they were unwilling to let go of their chances of getting the championship. Venerable the Blade realized what his friends were thinking. After a second of hesitation, he decided to let his friends see the truth. Guys, I think you should wait. Mr. Su has not shown all he's got yet. His pets are even more terrifying. His pets. God of Earth and God of Blood raised their eyebrows. Of course, they knew Su Ping would have battle pets, being a battle pet warrior. It was common to see that the battle pets would be better than their masters. But their battle pets weren't any less strong. Of course, since Venerable the Blade had suggested them earnestly, they would wait for his sake. After all, they weren't the only ones who wanted to get the championship. Someone else was bound to answer the challenge. Su Ping had become impatient on the stage. Don't waste my time. I will become the champion if no one else is coming. The answer he got was silence. Things had spun out of control. The people in the audience were gazing at the titled battle pet warriors, wondering if any of them would go to the stage. The average titled battle pet warriors were eyeing their peers who were at the peak of the titled rank. Venerable the Blade was one of those that people had high hopes for. Only those at the peak of the titled rank would be able to contend with Su Ping. Su Ping would take away the championship if that group didn't answer the challenge. Time moved on. The stadium was in absolute quiet for 1 minute. No one talked. The only thing audible was people's breathing. After a minute still, no one came up. Su Ping turned around to see the judge. He was about to say something when he heard a sneer. I take it that everyone is waiting for someone else to explore the way and try this wild man. Such being the case, let me be that one. Instantly, a man landed on the stage with a gust of wind. It was an old man wearing a dark red robe. He seemed to be in his 80s but was actually much older. Titled battle pet warriors were able to live 200 to 300 years old as it was. Those who practiced some special skills were even able to prolong their lives up to 500 years. However, the population of the second group was small, and most titled battle pet warriors would die in battle before they reached the end of their lives. It is Master Mo, the Flame of Ruin Mo Kiasheng. I cannot believe it's him. I once heard his title when I was a kid. Many titled battle pet warriors were surprised to see that old man, a warrior who had earned his fame a long time before. It would not be surprising if he had already reached the legendary rank. After all, he had become a titled battle pet warrior a long time before. At least a century had already passed. There was nothing strange for a man to reach the legendary rank after staying at the titled rank for more than 100 years. Of course, at the same time, there was nothing strange for him to be stuck at the titled rank. A great number of titled battle pet warriors were like this. Master Mo, Venerable the Blade, and his two friends were taken aback. Master Mo was someone they feared, one whom they had not been able to fully understand. A certain group of people squinted their eyes when they saw Master Mo going up and entering the stage. Punk, am I qualified to fight you yet? While standing on the stage, Master Mo grinned hideously at Su Ping, who seemed to be a young man. However, having lived long enough, Master Mo was aware that some special articles were able to help a person retain a youthful look. A person's appearance was not always the truth. First of all, my name is not Punk. Su Ping looked into his eyes. Second of all, come and try me and you will know the answer. Master Mo broke into laughter. Good for you. Senior Yan, activate the seal. I'm going to have fun today. Even Senior Yan was a bit afraid of Master Mo, however. There was nothing else he could do at this point. He shouted to the working staff, activate the seal. Soon, the device was put into operation. The seal was of the best kind and was even able to fend off a strike made by a beast king at the Ocean State. There were only 3 sealing devices of this kind in the entire subcontinent district. The seal would also require a tremendous amount of energy. As such, the seal could only be applied to a limited space, such as the stadium. The seal couldn't be placed over the city because the energy demand would be extravagant. Buzzing, energy poured into the transparent seal that enveloped the stage. The seal could provide comprehensive protection to the arena and the audience sitting close to the stage. Using stones and rock to build the stage would mean that the structure would be unable to handle the competition between titled battle pet warriors. "Good," Master Mo shouted. The grin vanished from his face and 9 swirls appeared behind him. Titled battle pet warriors were able to summon 9 pets. Roared, roared. The ferocious, sharp, and tyrannical roars rushed out of the 9 swirls. In the blink of an eye, 9 huge mountain-like figures appeared on the stage, occupying 1/3 of the area. The large stadium even seemed small in comparison. There were dragons, demon pets, and pets of various element families. There was a large diversity of pets. Master Mo basically had pets of all the popular kinds. Those pets, be it the dragon or demon pet, had the properties of fire. Among the dragon kind, there were some with the fire properties and others with water properties. Generally speaking, demon pets were of a dark kind, but there were special ones that could have a mixture of fire properties as well. Master Mo's demon pet was a mutated one. "Punk, summon your pets." Master Mo seemed to be tiny while standing in front of the 9 gigantic pets, but his overwhelming strength was evident. The wrinkles on his face were smoothed out, and he seemed to be dozens of years younger. "Okay." Su Ping darted a glance at the 9 pets. 5 of them had bloodlines at the peak of the 9th rank. There were 5 that seemed to have grown to their prime states as well. The other 4 were not at the peak, but at the upper position of the 9th rank. Counting Master Mo, Su Ping was faced with 6 creatures that were at the peak of the titled rank and 4 at the upper state of the 9th rank. If Master Mo were to synchronize their strengths, they would find a formidable opponent. Borrowing his pet strength, Master Mo was unable to unleash the power on par to that of a Beast King. A newborn Beast King would even lose to this Master Mo. "Come on out." 2 swirls appeared behind Su Ping's back. Flames burst out from one of the swirls and darkness oozed out from the other one. Roared. A dragon cry that shook the audience was suddenly heard from the swirl where the flames were surging out. The dragon shouted more violently than before. It must have felt its master's strong will to fight. Phew! A huge, hideous dark red dragon head slowly protruded from the inside. It was the Inferno Dragon. The large Inferno Dragon stepped out from the swirl. Its feet stomped the ground, shaking the entire stage. The Inferno Dragon was merely a dozen meters tall. The dragon was in front of Master Mo's 9 battle pets. Each of the 5 that were at the peak of the 9th rank was much bigger than the Inferno Dragon. The largest of Master Mo's battle pets was more than 100 meters tall. Even though the Inferno Dragon was a dwarf, no one was able to shift their eyes away from the impressive Inferno Dragon, whose momentum was even more imposing than Master Mo's battle pets. Stepping out from the other swirl was the Dark Dragon Hound that had inherited the Dragon King's bloodline. The Dark Dragon Hound made no sound as it came out. It stood behind Su Ping quietly, but the laziness in its eyes had gradually shifted to coldness. The 2 battle pets stood in front and behind Su Ping respectively. The audience became quiet. No one could understand why Su Ping had merely summoned 2 battle pets. God of Earth and God of Blood were stunned speechless as well. They looked over at Venerable the Blade with question marks written all over their faces. Were those the pets you claimed that were stronger than Su Ping himself? That Inferno Dragon, well, granted, the Inferno Dragon was a rare and good kind. However, Su Ping's Inferno Dragon was evidently still a child. Judging by the size, the Inferno Dragon either had barely reached adulthood or was malnourished. Was Su Ping not afraid that a 7th-ranked dragon would drag him down? More importantly, they could not comprehend why Su Ping's battle pets had not grown up fully when he had become so strong. Theoretically speaking, one should have invested a huge amount of effort and resources to train a dragon as amazing as the Inferno Dragon, and it should have reached its peak. The battle pets of titled battle pet warriors, for the most part, were at the peak. Of course, titled battle pet warriors also had battle pets that were still growing up, the new battle pets. But titled battle pet warriors would not let those younger battle pets go out in a situation like that one. As for the other battle pet, to be honest, God of Earth and God of Blood failed to recognize it. Master Mo pulled a long face. He had actually admired Su Ping's arrogance and boldness greatly when he was sitting near the stage. However, it wouldn't be that pleasant while being the target of that arrogance. He was repelled by Su Ping. "Are you planning on fighting me with those two infants?" he asked coldly. "Of course not," Su Ping answered. Master Mo raised his eyebrows and put on a look that said "smart move" on his face. Still, what Su Ping said next clouded his face completely. "One is more than enough to deal with you," Su Ping added. "Conceited, so conceited." Master Mo felt he was about to explode from anger. He had never been on the receiving end of such contempt since he became a titled battle pet warrior 100 years before. "I shouldn't have called you a punk, but a dead man," Master Mo said coldly. Without further ado, he mentally passed his orders to his 9 pets. Feeling their master's anger, his 9 pets showed their teeth and made threatening gestures. Master Mo then cast many augmentation spells on his pets. The 9 of them lined up in a specific array. The 2 dragons at the peak of the 9th rank stood at the front and they charged towards Su Ping, threatening him with their roars. "Inferno Dragon, show them what a dragon should be like." Su Ping eyed the 2 dragons with disdain. His order was relayed to the Inferno Dragon with his mind. The killing intent contained in the order made the Inferno Dragon's eyes turn red. "Roar!" That dragon's roar was one that no one had ever heard before. It seemed that such a roar had originated from the distant past, traveling across eras, and finally landing on the stage. That dragon's roar was not one that could be made by a 9th-rank dragon or a beast king dragon, but a dragon of the star rank. That was a dragon's roar that could shake the universe. That was a dragon's roar that could turn the stadium upside down. The seal was shaking violently. The resonance generated by the super-aural impact made the energy of the enchantment somewhat turbulent. The 2 dragons that were charging towards Su Ping felt how their shouts were buried by the Inferno Dragon's roar. The 2 dragons were over 30 meters tall, but their roar was not as powerful as the Inferno Dragon that was much smaller. Deterrence. Master Mo's 9 battle pets were all frozen to the spot by the incredible roar. Even the energy link between them came to a short pause and was cut off. Among the audience, the average battle pet warriors felt their ears bleed and were suffering symptoms akin to those caused from concussions. Flames rose from the ground. The Inferno Dragon bathed in the rich, dark, hellish flames. The magnificent Inferno Dragon threw itself forward, toward the 2 dragons that had been forced into stillness by its roar. Elementary agility skill on. Boom! Due to the fast speed, a huge noise burst out in the air. The Inferno Dragon was like a burning meteorite that nothing could stop. In an instant, the Inferno Dragon had reached the 9th-rank dragon that was clearly the leader of Master Mo's 9 battle pets. The Inferno Dragon raised its huge paws. A virtual image of the paws appeared as they smashed down. The opponent dragon's mind became clear. That dazed state lasted for merely an instant. As it looked at the Inferno Dragon that was right under its nose, the dragon was no longer as daring as before. In a fit of fear, the dragon mobilized its energy. Its dragon scales stood up, adding another dragon armor on top of its scales. Bang! The virtual image of the Inferno Dragon's paws landed on the dragon armor, which fell into pieces the second it emerged. The dragon's scales, from which a cold glare was being reflected, were flying across space as well. The dragon's chest caved in and it fell to the ground. After stomping on the fallen dragon, the Inferno Dragon charged toward the next one. Regardless of its large size, the Inferno Dragon appeared to be quite agile and flexible. "Stop it." Master Mo finally came back to his senses. There was no longer that trace of anger in his eyes. It was beyond reason that an Inferno Dragon that had just reached adulthood could be so threatening. His heart was still racing from hearing that earth-shaking roar. Horrifying. Energy synchronization. Secret skills. Master Mo rose to the occasion. He ordered the several secondary battle pets to pour their energy to the second dragon and also mobilize a part of their energy to the demon pet that was standing behind the second dragon. The demon pet was in charge of the offense, while the dragons were in charge of defense. There was a clear distinction of responsibilities. Eliminate him. After noticing what Master Mo had been doing, Su Ping didn't hesitate. He relayed the Inferno Dragon the next commands, telling his pet to use some legendary skills. Whoosh! The Inferno Dragon generated more flames upon receiving the order. After generating something like a sea of fire, the Inferno Dragon dashed on. At the same time, its limbs suddenly grew a few folds. A beam of holy light was glowing on its paws as the Inferno Dragon smashed against the second dragon. That dragon had set up a barrier to shield itself and the other pets behind. Bang! The barrier broke. The Inferno Dragon raised its sharp claws and grabbed the dragon's shoulder, knocking the dragon over. Due to the impact, the stage trembled yet again. The Inferno Dragon didn't stop there. While stepping on the fire, the Inferno Dragon charged toward Master Mo, who was standing inside a circle formed by his pets. Startled, Master Mo told his battle pets to move closer at once. The ground began to crack as stones grew out, ice was spread, and wind blew. Many vines reached out from the stone cracks, heading toward the Inferno Dragon. All the pets of the element family were launching attacks at the Inferno Dragon. At the same time, the demon pet also resorted to action. The light around the Inferno Dragon was devoured by darkness. That space turned into a cube of darkness that no light was able to penetrate. But the many strikes were allowed to enter. Master Mo shared senses with his demon pet and used himself as the medium so that his other battle pets could accurately target the Inferno Dragon that was inside that cube of darkness. Many people turned pale from fright. It was a huge mess on the stage, with all sorts of rays of light. Not even a beast king could have survived that kind of bombardment. Many people turned to the other side of the stage. To their surprise, the master of that threatening Inferno Dragon was standing there quietly without taking any precautions. It didn't seem like he was going to summon another battle pet. The other battle pet that was like a dragon, a wolf, and a dog at the same time was crouching by his foot quietly, licking its paws, not showing any intention of entering the stage. What? Roared. While people were wondering, the dragon's roar that had astounded everyone came out from the cube of darkness. By the sound of it, the Inferno Dragon was still unharmed. Rather, it was even more furious than before. Phew! A stalwart and fierce dragon carrying purgatory flames all over its body suddenly rushed out from the cube of darkness. The fierce dragon eyes were fixed on Master Mo, who was standing nearby. There wasn't a single scratch on the Inferno Dragon. Silence. The people who witnessed this were unable to utter a sound. How could the Inferno Dragon remain unharmed after being blasted by so many pets of the element family? Impossible. That was unheard of. Master Mo, Venerable the Blade, and his friends were just as dumbstruck as everyone else. Roared. As it roared, the Inferno Dragon landed heavily right in front of Master Mo. A shadow was cast over him. Dust was still floating in the air. Time had stopped at that moment. Master Mo felt he was under the gaze of a creature from hell. The Inferno Dragon that was standing before him was not a dragon but a fiend. He could not believe how violent the pet was. He could not look into that pair of dragon eyes that spoke of nothing but cruelty. Su Ping said one word, "Kill." The Inferno Dragon raised its snout and cried to the skies. Flames rose even higher. The thick dragon claw that was surrounded by the golden light smashed down. Buzzing. Even the air was screaming, making a sound that felt like a huge machine squeaking. Master Mo was scared out of his wits. He vanished the moment the dragon's claw was going to land on him. Bang! The stage trembled. It trembled so violently that the whole stadium shook alongside the stage and the walls cracked. After the dust settled, Master Mo crawled up from a pile of stones in a corner next to the seal. A second before, he had told his pet of the stone family to take him away. Master Mo could no longer hide his fear as he stared at the cracked and broken stage. Intimidating. Dreadful. At that moment, he had clearly sensed that death was knocking at his door. Death was so close. The Inferno Dragon was slowly raising its head. As he came back to his senses, Master Mo shouted without hesitation, I surrender." Crazy. He was not willing to go down with that crazy man. He would die for real. He wanted to live. He had not reached the legendary rank yet. Once he did, he would be able to live for another few hundred years. The Inferno Dragon came to a stop. Everyone else was staring with mouths agape. The battle ended fast. Everything had happened within a minute or two. Master Mo, the Flame of Ruin, had actually acknowledged defeat. He had summoned 9 battle pets, and yet suffered such a complete defeat when his opponent had summoned but 1 battle pet. That was beyond logic. What was even more mind-boggling was how the Inferno Dragon had remained unharmed after so many strikes. Not even a Beast King could have done that. Since Master Mo was smart enough to give up, Su Ping told the Inferno Dragon to return. Energy, elemental skills. The moment he saw that, he had been certain that Master Mo's efforts would be futile. Where was the Inferno Dragon trained? In all kinds of extreme environments. It had been burnt by fire, frozen by ice, and struck by lightning. The Inferno Dragon enjoyed itself in the harsh environments that the usual 9th-rank beasts could barely survive. It was immune to basically all sorts of elemental attacks, of course, unless the strike was of unbelievable strength. Otherwise, the other elemental attacks would not harm it. Above the stage, in the air, Senior Yan gulped as he stared at the huge mess below. His face turned red, pale, and blue. He had become afraid of the man standing on the stage. He could not believe that he had thought about banishing this man moments before. This man turned out to be demonic. Master Mo was a powerful titled battle pet warrior already, and even then he had to yield. 1 battle pet against 9. That Inferno Dragon is a freak. He had never seen a battle pet with so much energy with such a small body. Next to the stage, God of Earth and God of Blood could not believe what they had just heard from Master Mo. They looked at each other and found the same astonishment in each other's eyes. Powerful. That dragon was a mighty one. At first, when they saw how strong the dragon was, they had thought that Su Ping had summoned it as a joke. But it turned out that the dragon was close to a Beast King in power. No, not close to. It was a Beast King. That was a sure thing. They remembered what Venerable the Blade had told them. Fortunately, they didn't hurry to the stage to fight against Su Ping. Otherwise, they would have been the ones on the losing end. They believed that they were a tad stronger than Master Mo, but the thing was, Su Ping was creepy. He won with 1 battle pet. That battle pet had to be Su Ping's major pet. Even so, no one could say for sure if Su Ping had other battle pets with similar strength or... Sitting next to them was the equally astounded Venerable the Blade. He knew about Su Ping's Inferno Dragon, but he had never met the dragon before. He only knew that Su Ping's skeleton was unusual. It turned out that the Inferno Dragon that had been exhibited on the street was no less threatening. None of Su Ping's battle pets was normal. I have quite the competition. Good for me. Indeed, with this man here, fighting for the championship is practically trying to rob food from a tiger, Venerable the Blade thought. Qin Shuhai had lost the ability to talk and even forgot that he had to find friends to go back and help defend the Longjiang base city. The Tang family, that monster, Tang Minking's face was clouded. The Tang family would never forget how Su Ping had blackmailed them. In public, they would speak to Su Ping kindly as if they had put that incident behind them. But they had been humiliated. It was something that they could simply forget. They simply hid their hatred on account of the legendary battle pet warrior in Su Ping's store. After all, no matter how bold they would never go against a legendary battle pet warrior. The best outcome for them would be to have 2 losing parties, but that was not a good thing for them, either. Many were coveting the Tang family's holdings. The other Tang family elders were still fearful. They had not been able to picture what the young man was like before they saw with their own eyes. Facts revealed to them that the young man was even more intimidating than what Tang Minking had told them. Tang Ruyu's eyebrows were tightly knitted together. She had been placing her hands over her legs since she arrived, but then she kept on gripping her pants. On the stage, Su Ping patted the Inferno Dragon that had just walked to his side. He shouted the same old question, "Anyone else?" His voice lingered. Anyone else? All eyes were on the titled battle pet warriors. A battle pet warrior at the peak of the titled rank had lost, rather embarrassingly, anyone else. The several battle pet warriors at the peak of the titled rank looked quite awful at the moment. They had managed to stay calm until then, but Master Mo's defeat had put them all in a frustrating mood. Some of them were weaker than Master Mo, and some of them stronger. However, even for the second group, that little extra strength would not do them any good when facing a monster like Su Ping. Su Ping used one battle pet to defeat Master Mo. The best the stronger ones could do was to force Su Ping to use his full force, but they would still end up losing. No sound was heard in the stadium. No one answered the call. Several minutes had passed since Su Ping's voice died down, and yet no one said a word. The battle pet warriors at the peak of the titled rank felt ashamed when they noticed the glances being cast on them. "Don't look at me. Why don't you try?" Some battle pet warriors at the peak of the titled rank felt too embarrassed to even sit still. Some found a way to maintain a smile as if telling the onlookers, "Don't look at me. I have nothing to do with the competition. I'm just here for the fun of it." Senior Yan didn't know what to say. If no one came up, then Su Ping would become the champion. That had never happened at any Supreme League before, to have a champion determined on the first day of the official competition. Not to mention that the man had used such an uncommon way to defend the ring. Senior Yan suddenly remembered something. He stole a glance at a certain private room in the stadium. If Su Ping were to leave as the champion, then their plan would have failed. That big shot's plan would be all for nothing. If no one answers, then. Su Ping looked at the titled battle pet warriors. Most of them would avoid eye contact. Without further ado, Su Ping decided to ask for the prizes, so that he could leave at once. "Wait." Right then, he heard an old man's voice. He said that word calmly, but everyone in the stadium could hear it. It was proof that the man had complete mastery of his astral powers. Surprised, all the people turned to look at that old man. The old man was the previous family head of the Qin family that had returned to the public eye not long ago. That old family head had established a name for himself a long time before. The current family head of the Qin family was his great-great-grandson. He was the ancestor of the Qin family. He wanted to challenge Su Ping. Why? One would get stronger after years of cultivation, but if he had not achieved any breakthroughs, he would still be stuck at the peak of the titled rank. I was hoping that I could give time for others to demonstrate their abilities, but now I see that I have to come up and solve the problem," the old man said with a kind smile. He sounded so casual, as if the previous match between Su Ping and Master Mo was all in the audience's imagination. How confident the old man was. It was not possible that his head would have become muddled because of old age. The only explanation was that, after living longer than people could imagine, the old man had mastered things no one could ever think of. For a moment, many titled battle pet warriors felt hopeful. The old man sounded a bit pretentious, saying something like, "I would solve the problem." But the fact was, he was merely unwilling to see that young man taking away the prizes. Of course, if he were able to indeed defeat Su Ping, that would be an effort to salvage some faces for the titled battle pet warriors present. The titled battle pet warriors would not look good if people heard that one man challenged them all and no one dared to answer to that challenge. Senior Yan's eyes glowed. He told the staff members to open the seal at once. Inside the seal, Master Mo was frowning. He had acknowledged defeat, and then that man showed up so casually. It was true that the old man's target was Su Ping, but Master Mo felt he had been belittled. Chapter 490. Legend Taking the Bait. "Humph," Master Mo groaned. He called back all of his battle pets. Before he left, he said one more thing to Su Ping. "You won fair and square. I heard that you're from the Longjiang base city. When time permits, I'll go and pay you a visit." "Anytime," said Su Ping. Master Mo flew off the stage immediately. On his way down, he cast a glance at the old man who was about to go onto the stage. He could not help but sneer at the seemingly calm old man. Whoosh! While escorted by several Qing family titled battle pet warriors, the old man flew to the stage and softly landed on the ground. There was an aloof and detached feeling about him. Senior Yan gazed at the old man. He had lived for a long time. Even Senior Yan was a bit afraid of him. "Close the seal," Senior Yan commanded. The seal covered up the stage again. The rubble and debris was left where it was, and the mess on the stage was not fixed. Everything remained as it was. For titled battle pet warriors, what the stage was like did not matter. An uneven ground would not affect their battle. Su Ping and the old man of the Qin family sized up each other. Both appeared to be composed, but not the onlookers. They held their breaths and felt the tension in the air. It was sharp enough to cut their skins. The old man from the Qin family suddenly spoke. His voice was gentle. "My friend, if you cannot take it, you're welcome to give up later." "Right back at you," Su Ping said seriously. The old man from the Qin family smiled. All of a sudden, he squinted his eyes and 3 swirls appeared behind his back. The 3 swirls were enormous, especially the one in the middle that had a golden color. With overpowering momentum, that swirl was like the sun hanging in the air. Amid everyone's gazes, and accompanied by a roar, a huge golden dragon head snuck out slowly from the swirl, followed by the golden dragon wings and body that seemed to be cast of gold. That was a golden dragon. The most powerful, the best, the rarest dragon. The stadium was in perfect silence. Master Mo, who had just gotten down from the stage and was unhappy about the actions of the old man from the Qin family, was at a loss for words. A golden dragon. That was the most powerful battle pet that anyone could find at the peak of the 9th rank. It was said that a golden dragon at its peak state was able to compete against a beast king. The average beast kings could not even summon the courage to offend a golden dragon. That was a battle pet that could intimidate beast kings when it was at the 9th rank. It was a dragon so rare that one could hardly be seen in 100 years. But this old man from the Qin family had one that was at the peak of its state. In the air, as the body of the golden dragon slowly stretched out from the swirl, there was no roar, no sound, but a terrible feeling made the audience fall silent. Boom! The golden dragon's feet slowly landed, and the entire stage shook slightly. Everyone at the stadium felt their hearts throbbing. Next to the stage, the titled battle pet warriors were dumbfounded. Unexpectedly, a kind of dragon which only existed in the illustrated book and was actually almost extinct, was actually seen there. What was the point of the match now? Venerable the Blade and his friends came back from their shock and produced forced smiles. The one who lived long enough could hide many treasures. How incredible the old man was to be able to get a golden dragon. He was peerless among all titled battle pet warriors. Entering the golden dragon in the match was to bully the opponent. From the other 2 swirls crawled out 2 demon pets, of which Su Ping had seen one before, the Bloody Servant. But that Bloody Servant was at its peak state. The peak of the 9th rank. That Bloody Servant was taller than Qin Xiaoshan's Bloody Servant. The fiendish energy coming off from the Bloody Servant was suffocating. With twisted and hideous limbs that had been fully matured, just standing there, the Bloody Servant would make people feel uncomfortable, as if they were going to be torn apart. No one dared to look at the Bloody Servant directly. The other demon pet was of humanoid shape as well, or more exactly, like an angel. The demon pet had 8 pairs of black wings. There were black chains that entangled and crossed over in front of its chest. There was something sinister about the demon pet whose eyes were completely black and could swallow the light. People could even hear a pin drop. Horrific. The 3 pets were rare and powerful. Even having one of them would make one a peerless titled battle pet warrior, not to mention 3. It was hardly conceivable. That was the power of the old man. It's not too late to give up now. He eyed Su Ping, surrounded by the 3 pets. He talked as if it were no big deal, but his energy could frighten all of them. Su Ping was indeed surprised. He had to admit he didn't expect to see so many rare pets all at once. Giving up, Su Ping had stowed his curiosity away. If I were not in a hurry, I might have been in a mood to appreciate your pets slowly. But now go down. With that said, the dark dragon hound that had been sitting behind Su Ping stood up. The laziness in its eyes had shifted completely into coldness. The dark dragon hound gently strutted over to where Su Ping was, standing side to side with the Inferno dragon and glaring at the 3 battle pets coldly. Huh! The old man from the Qin family had already noticed the pet that looked like a dragon hound, but that was a kind that he had never seen before. He could tell that the pet was a mutation. Still, he never took it seriously. The golden dragon would always be no one, the most powerful of all. Kill them. The old man of the Chin family commanded his battle pets. Behind him, the golden dragon slowly raised its head, landing inside the pair of pure golden eyes, which was an indication of the purity of the dragon's bloodline were the two battle pets. The golden dragon could sense that there were dragon traits in the two battle pets as well. Such being the case, the two battle pets were ones that it could overpower. Roar. The sudden bellow echoed in the stadium. That coarse bellow was full of rage. Many people had to cover up their ears. Yet surprisingly, the golden dragon's roar did not seem to be all that scary. While the onlookers were still wondering, there came another, much more ferocious roar. Roar. That roar toppled the golden dragon's bellow. Roar. Following that was another equally disturbing roar. The seal had begun to shake. The Inferno Dragon and the Dark Dragon Hound were preparing themselves. After numerous times training, as soon as they got into a battle state from the idle state, the strong, desperate urge to survive would occupy their minds, making them cruel, heartless, and thirsty for blood. However, in the meantime, they would not lose their minds completely. They would be in a state of pure fierceness and absolute calm. In their eyes, a wild streak was flickering, but composure was taking control. Finish them. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Many different types of shields emerged out of the void, cast over the Inferno Dragon and the Dark Dragon Hound. That was the doing of the Dark Dragon Hound. Within the blink of an eye, shields that were formed of wind, fire, lightning, rock, and water and so on had appeared to protect the two. Shields of all types. In the meantime, with a muffled noise, a virtual image of a magnificent dragon appeared behind the Dark Dragon Hound. The virtual image was so large that it almost filled up the space on the stage. That virtual image was that of the old Dragon King, which gave the Dark Dragon Hound its legacy. Of course, the old Dragon King's consciousness was not within the virtual image. It was only there because it was a skill of the Heaven Expansion Dragons. Dragon Shield. The head of the virtual dragon turned into a shield that stood in front of the Dark Dragon Hound and the Inferno Dragon. Those many layers of shields blew the onlookers' minds. What pet is that? Shields of all types. Even the old man from the Chin family was overwhelmed by disbelief. Before the Dark Dragon Hound started to do anything, he didn't think that the hound was any kind of special battle pet. And yet, at this moment, he had a feeling that the hound was not a common one. There was something strange about that battle pet. Not delaying for an instant, the old man commanded his battle pets. 5 more swirls appeared behind him, and from them crawled out 5 pets at the peak of the 9th rank, all of the element families. While each of his battle pets was not able to use skills of all types and families, he had enough variety of pets to make up for it. His battle pets covered the wind, fire, lightning, stone, and water families. All 5 battle pets that had just come out built up their shields. Energy synchronization was in the operation as well. The old man poured his astral powers into the golden dragon and the bloody servant. Roared. The golden dragon growled. It had been frightened by the Inferno Dragon, which was surprising. That fear made the golden dragon feel that it had been disgraced. Roaring, the golden dragon unleashed one of the inherent skills, golden flames. Swish. The golden dragon flame built up a pillar of fire, and the loose rocks on the stage were instantly charred. The temperature in the air instantly reached the boiling point. Ordinary people would instantly be burned if they stayed within the seal. Even with the resistance of the seal, everyone outside the stage was able to feel the air heat up rapidly, as it was bathed in a sea of fire. Bang! The golden flames reached the dragon's shield but were unable to burn it. The golden flames should have been able to burn everything and anything. Still, it was unable to char the dragon's shield. The tides of the flames were shattered. The falling cinders burned many holes on the ground. Ineffective. Impossible. In the meantime, the bloody servant had dashed out like a ghost. Its limbs, which were like sharp blades, began to spin rapidly. Several of its limbs became one huge machete, hacking at the dragon's shield with tremendous force. No one would question how aggressive a bloody servant could be. But what happened next was jaw-dropping. The bloody servant's machete limb bounced off of the dragon's shield, and due to the recoil, the pet was smashed away. Before it was about to crash on the ground, the bloody servant adjusted its position in the air and landed steadily. Silence. What a swift turn of events. A strange shield that no one had ever seen before was so sturdy that it could fend off the strikes from the golden dragon and the bloody servant at the same time. Roar! The golden dragon was flaring up. Once again, the golden dragon breathed out fire. At the same time, it also spewed a ray of golden light. That ray turned into many virtual dragons that were traveling fast, catching up with the flames, and then smashed into the shield. With a bang, the virtual images were bounced back, and even the golden dragon was forced back a few steps. In the meantime, the bloody servant was preparing for another strike. Shadow whirlwind, bloody slaughter, soul hunting. A series of the bloody servant's scary skills were displayed. However, be it physical attacks or energy strikes, nothing could destroy the shield that was the huge virtual dragon's head. The soul hunting was a skill that could allow the bloody servant to invade its prey's spiritual realm within an instant, and use that spiritual realm as the medium for a killing move. However, even that had failed. Blocked by the shield, the bloody servant was unable to invade the spiritual realm of the Inferno dragon. Things had become a little bit odd on the stage. On one hand, Su Ping and his two battle pets remained standing. On the other hand, the supposedly overpowering golden dragon, the bloody servant, and the eight-winged demon guard were attacking like crazy, but were unable to crack that virtual shield in the slightest, no matter how many top-level skills they were trying. That was a perfect shield. What is that anyway? Many titled battle pet warriors exclaimed out of astonishment. They had thought that the Qin family old man could easily force all the cards out of Su Ping with the golden dragon and the bloody servant and win with ease. But look at how ridiculous the scene is right now. The Qin family ancestor looked awful. There was a trace of surprise in the depths of his eyes. No one knew about his golden dragon and bloody servant better than he did. The two battle pets could even inflict harm on beast kings. However, neither could crack that shield. More importantly, he had used energy synchronization and had secretly cast augmentation skills on the two again. Both battle pets were beyond their prime states at the moment. But nothing worked. That skill, it has to be at the Beast King level, a very advanced one at that. The old man was hesitating, struggling. The golden dragon, the bloody servant, and the demon guard were still attacking wildly. But no matter how they roared, smashed, and wielded, the shield just wouldn't crack. What was there to fight about when they could not even break the shield? Give up. That thought weighed the old man's mind down. Su Ping stared at the three pets that were attacking the dragon's shield with a frown and darted a glance at the hound. Stop loafing about. Finish it soon. Defense was not what he wanted. He desired to finish the battle as soon as possible. The dog trembled after receiving Su Ping's order. It turned around and looked at Su Ping. The coldness in his eyes told the dog that he meant what he said. The dark dragon hound no longer dared to sleep on the job. It showed its teeth and slowly turned around to face its enemies. Shadow slaughter, legendary skill. Roar! The dog bellowed. A mass of rich dark aura oozed out from the dark dragon hound. Half of the dark dragon hound's bloodline was that of a demon. The demonic aura was profound. Under the cover of the demonic aura, the dark dragon hound turned into a puff of black mist that seeped out from the dragon's shield, charging toward the eight-winged demon guard, the closest enemy. Noticing the incoming strike, the demon guard flapped its wings. The dark sword that it was holding burst into flames. The demon guard wielded its sword to face the black mist that was the dark dragon hound. The next second, bolts of lightning flashed amid the black mist. The black mist was suddenly dispersed. It sped up in an odd way and surrounded the demon guard. The old man of the Qin family hurriedly told the bloody servant and the golden dragon to help out. Roar! The golden dragon flames dispersed the black mist. As that happened, people were able to see that the dark dragon hound had thrown itself onto the demon guard and was biting the latter's neck. The dark dragon hound completely ignored the golden flames. Bang, bang, bang. The many advanced shields over the dark dragon hound cracked, but the second they cracked, new ones were added. The dragon flames had died down when the fifth shield broke. On the other hand, the dark dragon hound had rebuilt all of its previous shields. Building up shields was as easy as drinking water for the dark dragon hound. That was beyond any logical explanation. How could the hound construct so many advanced shields while not needing the slightest effort? The old man from the Chin family turned pale. PFF. With a pull, the dark dragon hound yanked the demon guard's head off. Bellowing, the dark dragon hound then charged toward the golden dragon. Legendary skill, dragon shape. Strong energy surged out of the dark dragon hound that changed its body. The dark dragon hound's 4 limbs grew, its body lengthened, turning into a dragon in a flash. That was the Heaven Expansion Dragon. Roared. The dark dragon hound yelled all of a sudden. It pounced at the golden dragon. Swiftly, the dark dragon hound wrapped itself around the golden dragon and tore many scales off the latter. The golden dragon was being suppressed. Roared. The dark dragon hound would not stop roaring as it held the golden dragon down and tried to bite its wings off. The golden dragon's scales stood up as an effort to force the dark dragon hound to retreat. But the terrifying thing was, being a dragon, a creature famous for its strength, and a king of dragons thanks to the inheritance, the golden dragon was not a match for the dark dragon hound. "Stop it!" the old man of the Chin family screamed. He had lost his gentle demeanor. His face was contorted. But the dark dragon hound ignored him. Su Ping ignored the scream as well. He would not stop unless the old man shouted his defeat. However, when the dark dragon hound was about to rip the golden dragon's wings off, a glaring ray of golden light shone around the golden dragon. That was a ray of light no one had seen before. Then, with tremendous strength, the light threw the unprepared dark dragon hound off from the golden dragon. In the air, the dark dragon hound adjusted its position and landed unharmed. But that twist had angered it. Su Ping was taken aback. He was getting a Beast King sense from the golden dragon. Just then, the strength that the golden dragon had demonstrated was not of the 9th rank, but should be that of a Beast King. "Punk, you should be proud of yourself even if you lose, now that you forced me to this point," the old man said. Su Ping looked at him. The former head of the Qing family who seemed so refined had just turned hostile. His face was so cold that it seemed to be covered with frost. He was staring straight at Su Ping as if he had a deep-rooted hatred. The most intimidating thing was that there was another swirl opening up behind him. That swirl was larger than the one the golden dragon came out from. Roar. A noise broke free from the swirl. Immediately afterward, a sturdy claw covered with scales crawled out from the inside, followed by a massive body. That was a fat creature which resembled a giant frog, but unlike a frog, its limbs were all sharp claws. The creature was like a mountain of flesh and the skin has sharp protrusions. Though it didn't have scales, the creature's skin was as hard as iron. A sense of energy that didn't seem to belong in this world was felt by everyone. Even the majestic-looking golden dragon seemed weak and vulnerable compared with that creature. Down the stage, several titled battle pet warriors appeared to be scared. "Beast King," someone shouted. Venerable the Blade and his friends stared in disbelief. Beast King, indeed, that was a Beast King. They recognized that it was a demon stone toad. It was a terrifying Beast King of the stone family. Given its Beast King rank, the demon stone toad did not only have properties of one specific family. Part of the demon stone toad's bloodline was that of a demon, and it could use almost incurable venoms that could easily kill beasts of the 9th rank, including dragons that were highly resistant to poisons. The old man from the Qin family had a Beast King. "Kill them," he bellowed. All the grace and gentleness had left him. He had been consumed by hatred and killing intent. He hated that Su Ping had forced him to a corner. Su Ping was not all that surprised to see that Beast King. Theoretically speaking, a titled battle pet warrior could sign a contract with a Beast King. It was just that for the most part, titled battle pet warriors were unable to catch a Beast King by themselves. But it would be another story if they had some help. Beast King, Su Ping thought calmly. Nothing special. He gave his order. The dark dragon hound growled. The sense of the Beast King had reminded the dark dragon hound of some pretty bad memories of pain it had experienced in the cultivation sites. "Kill it." The dark dragon hound's eyes reddened. It was aware that every time a Beast King appeared, it was time for a desperate fight. Fight, fight. The dark dragon hound let out a dragon roar. This battle pet had many defensive skills but few offensive skills. The Dark Dragon Hound's combat strength was 14.2, stronger than some Beast Kings, but it wasn't aggressive by nature. However, after receiving the old Dragon King's legacy, the Dark Dragon Hound had mastered one of the aggressive skills imbued in the bloodline. The skill was one of the core inherent skills of the Heaven Expansion Dragon, Dragon Soul Elegy. The desperation inspired the Dark Dragon Hound to unleash all of its might, to survive, to live. Behind the Dark Dragon Hound, the virtual image of the Heaven Expansion Dragon was roaring simultaneously. The dragon energy inside the Dark Dragon Hound was waking up. Dragon flames were burning around the Dark Dragon Hound, turning it into a real Heaven Expansion Dragon. Phew! The Dark Dragon Hound ran toward the Demon Stone Toad. The Demon Stone Toad squatted on the ground, with cruelty glaring in its huge eyes. The toad's skin had turned into rock. At the same time, the toad opened its mouth that seemed to be bottomless. Inside the mouth, dark energy had gathered. A dark wave suddenly emerged from the mouth. The Demon Stone Toad could feed on some smaller dragons. That Demon Stone Toad had eaten many dragons already. To feed it well, the old man of the Chin family had once bought many creatures that were subspecies of dragons for the Demon Stone Toad to feast on. The Demon Stone Toad had never cared about dragons or their might. Bang! The dark light wave was shot out instantly, shattering everything and annihilating everything. The stones of the stage disappeared instantly. They weren't even broken. The stones were directly turned into dust after the vicious attack. The dark light wave landed on the Dark Dragon Hound, generating a loud noise. But the Dark Dragon Hound kept on roaring. It was still unharmed. Instead, the dragon energy was shining even brighter. Cruelty glowed in its red eyes. The Dark Dragon Hound bellowed as it charged against the dark light wave. Roared! That dark light wave was pushed away, dispersed. A golden virtual dragon whooshed out from the Dark Dragon Hound. The virtual dragon smashed into the Demon Stone Toad, piercing through its fat stomach. With a bang, the Demon Stone Toad smashed into the seal with its chest caved in. The Dark Dragon Hound roared non-stop. It rushed to where the fallen Demon Stone Toad was, stomped on it, poked its eyes with sharp claws. Blood oozed out from the Demon Stone Toad. The Dark Dragon Hound's roar echoed in the stadium. No other sound was audible in the stadium, apart from the Dark Dragon Hound's roar. The Dark Dragon Hound was standing on top of a Beast King and was shouting into the sky. People were stunned speechless. That's a Beast King we're talking about. No one had ever imagined that a Beast King would lose, not to mention within one move. The old man from the Chin family was standing in a daze. Why would my Beast King lose? While he had yet to recover from his daze, the Dark Dragon Hound had opened its bloody mouth and bit at the Demon Stone Toad. The Dark Dragon Hound was also wrapping itself around the flesh mountain that was the Demon Stone Toad and was tightening its grip. Kill the enemy. Never let go before the enemy is dead. Stop it. The old man of the Chin family was on the verge of crying. The Demon Stone Toad was his favorite pet. I am going to kill you, he glared at Su Ping. Something around the old man of the Chin family seemed to be breaking. He was demonstrating energy like never before. Whoosh! He dashed over. With a bang, he had reached the Demon Stone Toad and punched at the head of the Dark Dragon Hound, which was caught off guard. Bang, 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 bang. With one punch, all the shields over the Dark Dragon Hound cracked. The Dark Dragon Hound fell to the ground. Down the stage, many stood up in alarm, opening their eyes wide. That man was a legendary battle pet warrior. Some titled battle pet warriors took one more second to process that information. Were they wrong? No, that teleporting and that punch and the state of the man, everything was proof that he was definitely at the legendary rank. Above the stage, Senior Yan was dumbstruck. He remembered something. That idea made him look at the private room. Someone was walking around in that private room, but he could not see clearly. Senior Yan understood that this old man from the Chin family, who looked nothing like before, was the man that the big shot wanted to lure out. A legendary battle pet warrior took the bait. A hidden legendary battle pet warrior. On the stage, the old man of the Chin family was a different man at the moment. He was no longer hunchbacked. He looked rather young, though his hair was still white. He wore his hair down his shoulders. Glaring at Su Ping coldly, he said, "I do not mind exposing myself now that my life is approaching the end. I understand that there's some hidden agenda for this year's competition, but it no longer matters. I don't care about the prizes. All I want now is to kill you." Su Ping squinted his eyes. "What makes you think you can do that?"